Globus-enabled systems. So what's Globus? It's a secure, reliable service. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. So what's Globus? It's a secure, reliable service. With the Globus platform, you can easily incorporate robust capabilities. And if the data is sensitive, no problem. Globus can be used to manage protected data. With Globus, you can easily share your data without having to move it or copy it. With Globus, subscribers can easily move and share. And if you have any more questions about Globus, visit Globus. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many thousands face the same challenges every day and solve them with Globus. So what's Globus? So what's Globus? It's a secure, reliable service. With the Globus platform, you can easily incorporate robust capabilities. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. More than 150,000 registered users rely on Globus. And if the data is sensitive, no problem. Globus can be used to manage protected data. With Globus, you can easily share your data without having to move it or copy it. With Globus, subscribers can easily move and share. And if you have any more questions about Globus, visit Globus. So how can you get started using Globus? Anyone can use Globus right now for free to transfer files between Globus-enabled systems.
What up, Magic? What up, Equilibrium? Equilibrium? How we doing today? How are we doing? Sorry, a little bit late, but if you were here on Monday, you know that back to school season has started. So, gotta make sure the kids get dinner, get set up, everything else. So, probably going to be starting around, that kind of time. If everything goes good, somewhere still in the vicinity of that 5 o'clock, but under certain conditions. It might be a little bit later, but at this point in time, I plan to stream my normal schedule as far as the days, and then the start times just may vary a little bit. All right. All right. Shall we get at it? Let's knock out the news, and then we can get to the video. Countdown to history. NASA's OSIRIS-REx preps for epic asteroid delivery. NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission is set to return the first U.S. asteroid sample to Earth in September after a successful mock-up drop test in Utah's West Desert. A team led by NASA, prepping for the arrival of the first U.S. asteroid sample. First major test. You're doing the thing again. It's got to be related to the, you know. Okay, the mission is a sample return mission to study a near-Earth asteroid. Mission's goal is to collect at least 2.1 ounces of material from asteroid Bennu and return it to Earth for analysis. The OSIRIS-REx spacecraft is scheduled to return to Earth on September 24th, so that would be 18 days. A sample capsule will be released for a safe landing in the Utah desert. And the reason we got to do that, or, you know, NASA has to do that, is to get some actual, like, you know, what's in this asteroid. Like, they can make predictions based on, you know, what they can sample from Earth, you know, using their variety of telescope-like devices, but ultimately you got to go and dig it out and bring it back to Earth. 60 grams. Hook a brother up. An AI-written novel has passed literary prize screening. Out of 1,450 entries, 11 were written by non-humans. The day a computer wrote a novel, the computer, placing priority on the pursuit of its own joy, stopped working for humans. A pretty profound line, considering the sentence is part of a book that was actually co-authored by an artificial intelligence. While it may not have won the top prize, the short-form novel, which was a collaboration between humans and an AI program, managed to make it through the first round of screening for a national literary prize in Japan called the Nikkei Hoshi Shinichi Literary Award. Titled The Day a Computer Writes a Novel, the short story was a team effort between human authors, led by Hitoshi Matsubara from the Future University Hakodate, and, well, a computer. Matsubara, who selected words and sentences for the book, set the parameters for the AI to construct the novel before letting the program take over and essentially write the novel itself. The team submitted 2 entries for the literary prize, one of which made it through the first round. I was surprised at the work because it was a well-structured novel, but there are still some problems to overcome to win the prize, such as character descriptions. By and large, AIs have been given computational tasks that require a strict sequence of problems to solve. However, creativity, which is an element inherent to all literary work, pretty hard to quantify, which makes this AI's achievement particularly impressive. We're seeing increasing numbers of artificial intelligence programs that are doing creativity. Like if you were here on Monday, we watched a video from Matt Wolf in which he showed this an AI that was creating pictures of animals that did not exist, and it was doing itself, right? Like it was fully creating something that did not exist without a human prompt to create the thing. So like when you use an AI art program like Midjourney or Leonardo, you are telling the AI what you want to see, right? And the AI attempts to give you what you ask for. This is an extension of that, but the AI is doing the actual creative action as part of it. Though I would argue that AI art is creative on its own merits. AI took my job, literally. Gizmodo fires Spanish staff amid switch to AI translator. Meanwhile, readers say that some AI penned articles switch languages halfway through, and like you're bad, Gizmodo, for not like we are not there yet where you can just fire and forget. So if it's switching in the middle of the article and you publish that, that's on you. Former Gizmodo writer Matthias Esavia publicly mentioned the layoff, which took place by a video call. That's just cold. But I mean, is it? Let me think about that. Right, like I come from a previous time where you broke up with people in person, but maybe we don't do that anymore, and the nature of everything is such that getting fired by a video call, like if you are doing remote work, then you're probably getting fired by video call. So Brave New World. What up, Sarah? You could pay someone on Fiverr $5 to break up for you. What? Oh, what was that? What did I see? No, that was in a thing. Um. Oh. Oh, what's it called? Apple TV global warming show. Extrapolations. In this show, there are people who do that. What up, Donnie? There are people who do that. Like, it's. I don't want to spoil it, and I don't want to get in too deep on it, but I highly recommend, either via Apple TV or wherever you find your Apple TV products, watching this show. It's mostly centered around global warming, but there's a bunch of other technological aspects of the near term future, the next couple of decades. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It's a bit Black Mirror, but not like as like dark, but it explores some of the same kind of things. Section than how I got fired back in 08. I went to go log into work. It wasn't working. Then checked email and they were like, we regret to inform you. It's better than when I used to work at this restaurant and they never fired me. They just no longer scheduled me for work. So that was really cool. Newly published articles on the site now contain a link to the English version of the article and a disclaimer stating, by our translation from Google Translate, this content has been automatically translated from the source material. Due to the nuances of machine translation, there may be slight differences. For the original version, click here. So far, Gizmodo's pivot to AI translation hasn't gone smoothly. On social media site Twitter, journalist and Gizmodo reader Victor Milan noted that some of the site's new articles abruptly switched from Spanish to English midway through, possibly due to glitches in the AI translation system. Yeah, that's on you. That, like, you need to follow up on your own shit, especially if you're going to do such a drastic change. Maybe you shouldn't have fired the guy right away, right? Maybe you should have given him, like, some time to help you, help him, help you. Jackasses. This is cool. Not related to AI, but related to futurism, the ideas of immortality. Yeah, exactly. Like immortality and things like that. One of the things that come up is stem cells, right? Like you need stem cells to help fix this because this is an awkwardly built system. So right now we have the ability to use a special concoction of chemicals to turn, like, for instance, skin cells back into stem cells, right? In spite of this new lease on life, these particular cells still retain a few genetic reminders of their time as fully developed tissue, affecting their use as a blank slate. Now, an international team of researchers has gone one better, finding a new way of wiping a cell's memory clean so it can be better reprogrammed as a stem cell. Pair of Japanese scientists. Yeah, and one of the things is like, like you go far enough back and stem cells are taken from like a variety of different places and they're not necessarily ideal, right? The idea behind this process and the process previously mentioned, Elder Gang, and the process that is specifically being referred to here is that you could take your cells and then turn them back into stem cells, and those ones are going to match, and you're not going to have to deal with rejection and all the other crap that goes along with that. So this is huge. Yeah, the promise of iPSCs is immense because they can propagate indefinitely and give rise to every other cell type in the body. iPSCs are not only incredibly useful tools for studying diseases, they are also, you should have put a comma there and a lowercase t, they are also shaping up as a stepping stone to individualized cell-based therapies. Speaking of which, I did not finish The Coming Wave by Mustafa Suleiman. I'm fairly deep into it, little over halfway, if I recall correctly. Definitely a recommended read. Get it wherever you get physical, audio, PDF books of your choosing. But it is, because it's like, it's really up to date. It is like right on top of all this stuff, and it presents it in a nice organized manner. So highly recommended. And in that, one of the things he talks about is the idea of individualized medicine, right? Like when you have our current model of the way that we do medicine is one size fits all, right? Like, or one size fits most, right? Like, there are going to be some factors in dosage and everything else, but like you're going to get 150 milligrams of whatever, or you're going to get 300 milligrams of whatever, and anything in between. This is one of the things that opens up the idea where it's going to be based on you, right? You're going to have genetic markers. You're going to have all these things. You're going to have your particular history. And the therapy, the medications, all the things are going to be tailored to your individual self rather than one size fits most. In the lab, scientists have used iPSCs to grow heart tissue that beats like real cardiac cells and engineer mini replicas of organs called organoids. There's another thing. Like one thing you could do is something gets damaged, you send in the the stem cells to repair it. Another is that we're going to grow, an organ for you. Like, if you have something wrong with your liver, let's get you a new liver, all this kind of stuff. And it's not going to be like we got to get in there and get some of your liver cells. We're going to take your stem cells and we're going to make them be a liver. This also, like, no matter what anybody tells you about evolution is fundamentally flawed, right? Because evolution doesn't favor that which is best. Evolution favors that which is best at exploiting a niche. These are two completely different things, right? There are a variety of things that go on in the human body which are not ideal, right? The fact that you still have parts of your body that go back to a previous age that you no longer need, but in and of themselves can cause you problems, like your appendix, your tailbone. There's other ones. There's other parts of your body, right? Like, which you don't need anymore. But we don't do that kind of thing where we remove stuff like that prophylactically. We just hope for the best, and if it fucks up, we take it out. You are going to be able to have like other stuff, right? That could be better than what is currently going on within the system, We might even discover create new organs that do stuff. Like people who suffer from diabetes, right? Like there's a problem with the pancreas. Make you a new pancreas and slap that bad boy in there. So yeah, I'm hyped. Super hyped. What else we got? Qualcomm CEO says AI may breathe new life into smartphones. It could create a new upgrade cycle. Qualcomm CEO Cristiano Amon said the company's upcoming Snapdragon Summit in October could lead to major developments in mobile technology. Your boy told you, look for AI within the next iteration or two, and possibly by the end of the year. I think the end of the year might be, a bit ambitious at this point, but I'm still leaning on the next couple of iterations. So what are they on? iPhone 14? So like by the iPhone 16, you're going to have AI, like onboard AI in your cell phone. I'm comfortable with that. New cases from smartphone makers and other manufacturers the company works with could create a new upgrade cycle for phones. In 2022, global smartphone sales tumbled 18.3% year over year to 1.21 billion, the lowest level since 2013. That's because people don't want to buy a new goddamn phone, right? Like, there are people who want to buy a new goddamn phone every time. But if I could have taken my S10, which worked great, and just added something to it to make it continue to work great instead of the glitching that was starting to happen, that would have been much more ideal for me than getting this upgrade to this S23, which is just generally pissing me off because there's something about the way that it prioritizes Wi-Fi and cell signal, excuse me, that are just, it's annoying as shit. Like, I keep having to turn the Wi-Fi off and on. Sometimes I have to restart the phone. I do not recommend the S23. I cannot speak for like the S23 Plus or the Ultra or any of that stuff, because I did have a S10 Plus, and maybe that's what I should have gotten. But I was trying to get free phone, and I got free phone. Snapdragon Summit is going to be around incredible use cases that we're seeing from our OEMs and phones, and could create a new upgrade cycle for phones. You're killing me. You are absolutely killing me out here. Like, just proofread your shit. Or hey, ChatGPT, could you proofread this for me? God damn. We don't know the timing, but it's definitely happening. Smartphone sales tumbled. You see what Microsoft's doing for PCs, and think about the ability to run ChatGPT and other models locally. So as those things get to the hands of consumers, I think it's going to be material. We just have to wait. We're in a slightly different segment. I think we see an opportunity. I think that's going to get reflected once that opportunity materializes. You have not yet materialized it. But it's important for you to see the activity. You heard a lot about Gen AI, generative AI, and you see right now with ChatGPT, just this is CNBC, right? Like, this is, you've got a couple bucks, you can pay someone to proofread your articles, or at least copy paste it into an AI. You're mad disappointing me. Who wrote this? Ryan Brown? Fired, gone, out. You see right now with ChatGPT and those things and what's happening to data center, we're doing something different. We're actually bringing AI to the device right there. Like, I called it. It's happening. It's not like, I'm a super genius. You just follow the logical steps. But like, I told you. Fast-tracking fusion energy's arrival with AI and accessibility. MIT Plasma Science and Fusion Center will receive DOE, Department of Energy, support to improve access to fusion data and increase workforce diversity. The fusion's gone woke. Christina Ray, a research scientist and group leader at the PSFC, that is the Plasma Science and Fusion Center, will serve as the primary investigator for the newly funded 3-year collaboration to pilot the integration of fusion data into a system that can be read by AI-powered tools. This is huge. This is immense. This is hugely immense. The PSFC, together with scientists from William and Mary, University of Wisconsin and Madison, Auburn, and the nonprofit HDF Group, plan to create a holistic fusion data platform, the elements of which could offer unprecedented access for researchers, especially underrepresented students. The project aims to encourage diverse participation in fusion and data science, both in academia and the workforce, through outreach programs led by the group's co-investigators, of whom 4 out of 5 are women. What up, Neuralicia? Hey, a lot of people treat me like a podcast and just sit back and chill and listen. So, welcome. If you don't follow Neuralicia, you should follow Neuralicia. Like, I think Neuralicia, I pronounced that correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, though, please. And thank you. AI helps robots manipulate objects with their whole bodies. With a new technique, a robot can reason efficiently about moving objects using more than just its fingertips. Imagine you want to carry a large, heavy box up a flight of stairs. You might spread your fingers out and lift that box with both hands and hold it up on top of your forearms and balance it against your chest, using your whole body to manipulate the box. It's Mr. Bucket. Humans are generally good at whole body manipulation, but robots struggle with such tasks. For the robot, each spot where the box could touch any point on the carrier's fingers, arms, and torso represent a contact event that it must reason about. With billions of potential contact events, planning for this task quickly becomes intractable. Now, MIT researchers have found a way to simplify this process known as contact rich manipulation planning. They use an AI technique called smoothing, which summarizes many contact events into smaller numbers of decisions to enable even a simple algorithm to quickly identify an effective manipulation plan for the robot. And we got a video. We got sound. Okay, this is interesting, if not particularly informative. Right? Our planner discovers complex plans which make rich contacts using the whole hand. Yeah, so normally when you see a robot manipulating something, it has a manipulation point, usually at the end of the appendage in which it manipulates it. But you can see here it's actually intentionally using other portions of the arm in order to make the rotation. So again, interesting, not particularly informative for an stream. But it will be in the Discord. Everything goes in the Discord as per spec. So if you would like to watch more of the video, it will be in there after stream. All right, 2 more articles, and then we'll get to some more interesting video. And these, we got a point counterpoint going on from the Guardian opinion piece. ChatGPT can't be trusted. The Guardian is right to block its web crawler. Mixing Guardian content into the training material for ChatGPT would be like putting some healthy food into a poisonous batch of baby food in the hopes that it will become safe to eat. The only solution is to get rid of the poison. In practice, this may spell the end of ChatGPT as a serious intellectual tool, since poisonous content is impossible to exclude from its training material, unless you follow this show and you watched Monday, in which we read the article about that you can do exactly that. Miss Jean Warren from Garrisington, Oxfordshire. ChatGPT cannot be trusted. To test the accuracy of the tool, I thought I would conduct my own research using the data upon which I am the world's expert, my own life and work. The results include: I was born and raised in Nottingham. I wasn't. I studied for a bachelor's degree in psychology at the University of Nottingham. I didn't. My PhD was in nursing. It wasn't. And finally, I tragically passed away in 2019. So I would need to see what you did, right? You're telling me a story, and I find your, like, you know, if I could trust that Dr. Theo Stickley was operating with the best of intent when they did this experiment, then I could say that they were, that all this happened. But I find that people who have pre-existing opinions regarding HI interacting with ChatGPT, and then, posting about it on the internet tend to be questionable. AI is a passing fad. Beg to differ. We will be looking at these nonsense predictions about it becoming the next big thing and laughing about what a wild time the early 2020s were once the pandemic cleared off. The pandemic cleared off, did it? Most Facebook users I've spoken to recognize in some level, what a toxic platform it is. I doubt they would want to uniformly hand that power to anything else again. For what up, old lobster? For fear of it being even worse. Congratulations on blocking AI scrapers from your website. So this is you. Maybe these are people like serious folks, right? I mean, this is a doctor, right? But this sounds like you took 3 comments from your page and then slapped it into an article. Okay, it does say letters here. I missed this. This is on me. I'll own this L. I'll own this L. But you presented it like as an article, right? Like that it is worthy of consideration. So we'll share that portion of the L. Also from The Guardian, The Guardian's block on ChatGPT using its content is bad news. Replace every instance of AI with Google and see how that pans out 20 years ago. Yeah, happy birthday to Google. 25 years old and attempting to adapt to the new paradigm. Okay, so this is letters, right? So this is the counterpoint from the letters folks. I was disappointed to read that The Guardian has followed other organizations in preventing OpenAI from harvesting its content for training. While I understand the importance of protecting intellectual property, what worries me is the quality of information that will be left for training artificial intelligence. Whether we like it or not, generative AI will augment, complement, and in some instances replace how news content is created, as well as other aspects central to our lives. There is a need for a wider debate, which should include commercial arrangements around intellectual property. However, I, for one, would prefer that generative AIs are trained on information that can be both trusted and respected. You are talking about The Guardian, so that's doing some heavy lifting here, but yes, otherwise you are 100% correct. I feel The Guardian shot itself in the foot by banning ChatGPT from scraping its website. In doing so, it has put short-term commercial considerations ahead of its tradition of campaigning for truth and justice. If ChatGPT is denied access to such outlets as The Guardian, The Washington Post, and The New York Times, and is force-fed a diet of the Daily Mail, The Sun, and the Daily Express, it's not hard to predict the outcome. Future generations will absorb the bile and prejudices of the right-wing press of our time. The work of the Murdochs, Beaverbrooks, and Rothermeres will have been done for them. You got it. On one level, I applaud The Guardian for blocking large language trawlers from sucking up its content. But surely it's better that these systems are trained on honest content. I'm sure the purveyors of fake news are not blocking them. And if generative AI content overwhelms factual text on the internet, its usefulness may drown under a tide of effluent. Nice use of effluent there, Ian Watson from Auckland, New Zealand. All right. That's the news. If you told any of these idiots that this is exactly how Google gathers its data and there's a robot text file that makes it stupid simple to allow and ban, it's such a bullshit argument. I literally rejected an article that I was going to cover on stream, but due to the fact that, like, it was an article that was presented about how like one of the central agreements of the internet is the robot.txt file, and that that OpenAI's crawler was like violating that agreement. And it's like you literally don't know what you're talking about, because when we covered that, we showed that not only is there a way to prevent your stuff from being used if you wanted to, like we just showed in there, but also that like OpenAI will tell you how to do it. So and it was a long article, and I'm like, no, you're killing me. Like, at least again, if you're not a fan of AI, I'm not here to force AI down anyone's throat. I'm not saying that any artist needs to, do anything. Like, I understand all of it. All I'm asking is that your foundations for your conclusions be based in reality and in, like, understand what it is that you're mad about and then be mad. Don't be mad and then reject anything because you don't understand how any of this stuff works. And that's across the board, right? Like, that is fundamental. That is fundamental to how I interact with the world. All right. What do we got? We did this one. So get rid of that. And get rid of that. And get rid of that. Did this one. I wish the internet picked up the same rage analog artists must have had at the first iteration of Photoshop. Like, I mean, I can literally go find you the articles. Like, back some time ago, we covered how the reaction of painters when photography was coming out. It's like people are wild, right? Like, they tend to have their opinions and not particularly care whether or not those opinions are founded in accuracy. All right. Okay, so let's send this one to the top. And then send that to the top. I'm just imagining the artist lady from the Big Lebowski posting about AI hatred on her Substack or something. Yeah. You're not wrong. Get that whole thorough. She will be thorough. Just 1 second. I gotta make sure whether or not this. Is the other thing that's helpful is if I forget to delete the AI videos from my queue, I can go back and I can at the very least see what was covered in the last little bit of time. Okay. All right, so we didn't do that one. All right, let's get into video content. His first one is a little weird. One of the things I talk about is with the board games, right? And my approach to strategy and everything else, and like the concept of game theory. And I found this video, and it is definitely a video. And like, you want to talk about like originality and doing something different? I'm gonna guess you're putting elephants into bras. And and this is like, we're not going to watch the entire video because I don't think that you would necessarily be interested in an entire video that is an introduction to strategic decision making and game theory. But my man has he's got a gimmick.
In this module, we'll introduce the fundamental concepts of game theory and provide an overview of its scope and applications. Game theory is a mathematical framework used to analyze strategic decision-making in situations where the outcomes of one's choices depend on the choices of others. We'll explore the key components of games, the type of interactions they model, and the player's role in these interactions. Welcome to the enthralling voyage into the realm of game theory, an intellectual odyssey that unveils the inner workings of strategic decision-making in a world of interactions. In this module, we'll lay down the foundation for your exploration of game theory's concepts, methodologies, and applications.
Like, I respect his wild mushroom mustache game. So this is just some random nude dude. He's only got 445 subscribers. This is the rare person that I'm putting up on stream who has fewer followers than I do. He's got what up, MILF? How you doing? I don't think NATO. Because this is UFP, this is UFP. I don't think that this is NATO over here. This is all UFP. Right? Like, the NATO flag doesn't have the whole world on it. I could be wrong. You know, I'm not saying I'm correct, but as far as I know, that is also a UFP. But yeah. Yeah, this is, he's got a thing. I feel like he teased him out specifically, like, you know, like, oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think he had a bit. He decided, I'm going to keep people's attention, because he's got a good voice, like,
setting the stage for a journey that delves deep into the art and science of rational behavior within intricate scenarios. Game theory.
You could use a little gate to prevent the sound of like his swallowing from coming across, but that's a technical issue, right? Like, I think that the not having a shirt is related, like the wild mustache not having a shirt, the UFPs hung up. He carved himself out a little corner of his space in order to film this. I feel like it's all intentional.
Theory is not just a discipline. It's a compass that guides us through the labyrinthine landscapes of decision-making. Imagine a terrain where choices are connected, each resonating with the echoes of others. Game theory is a map we use to navigate this intricate terrain, offering insights into the motivations, dynamics, and outcomes of strategic interactions among rational actors. The roots of game theory stretch back through history, nurtured by the minds of mathematicians, economists, and scholars from diverse fields. While its origins may be traced back to the mid-20th century, Its tendrils have spread across disciplines, captivating the imaginations of thinkers who seek to unravel the mysteries of human behavior in complex settings. As we embark on this journey, you'll witness the evolution of game theory and its profound impact on fields as varied as economics, political science, biology, and sociology. At its core, game theory serves as a cryptographer, decrypting the intricate codes of decisions and actions that unfold within strategic interactions.
So, like, respect, you know? I have not watched this entire thing. I am going to. Let's take a look. Did he follow up? Yeah. Yeah. No, he's got a whole bunch of stuff. He's been looks like about once a week, maybe twice a week. He's putting something out. It's his whole thing. He decided what he wants to do, and he's doing it. So, you know, and I'll put it up in the Discord, and you should by all means give my man a follow. Like, yeah.
And its profound impact on fields as varied as economics.
He's a dude. He's a dude and he's nude. No. He has chosen his niche. Let's do this one. Because this is related to the new book, the Coming Wave by Mustafa Suleyman.
Just a few days ago, on September 1st, Mustafa Suleyman, the co-founder of Google DeepMind and current CEO of Inflection AI, dropped an absolute bombshell on the internet and then walked away like a mic drop, and nobody seemed to notice. So I'm here to fix that. So here's what happened. He wrote an article in Time magazine online, and the title of the article is How the AI Revolution Will Reshape the World.
Now, he wrote the book. He also, I'm doing the audiobook, and he reads the book. He's got a good voice for it. Chapter 9, I think, there's a change in sound that I'm not a huge fan of, like just sound quality. But you know, I'm willing to go past it. I highly recommend reading this book, especially like if you aren't really familiar with all the things. It's presented in an approachable way. You don't have to be super into the terminology. He speaks like a regular guy, like me, right? Like, so far, right? Like, I'm not done with it. There may be a sudden plot twist, but it's also one of the few books on AI that I have read that doesn't, at least yet, hasn't talked about Elon Musk at all in this case. But they, like Max Tegmark's book, Life 3.0, definitely has a bit of Elon fanboy in him, and it's disappointing.
The TLDR is that AI is about to reshape and reshuffle all power structures in the world. Now, let me read just a couple of the quotes from this article for you. You can check it out yourself. It's really short. It's 6,000 characters long, so like 1,000 words. But anyways, so these two quotes really stood out to me. It's not just automated call centers. This wave will fundamentally reshape and reorder society, and it is those with the most to lose, reliant on established capital, expertise, authority, and security architectures, who are precisely the most exposed. And then later on in the article, he goes on to say, I've seen this kind of willful blindness before. I call it pessimism aversion, a tendency to look away from sweeping technological change and what it really means. Until recently, it was a common affliction of the Silicon Valley elite, many of whom pursued technological disruption without considering the likely outcomes. So, a couple other key points from this article, which again, it's on Time Magazine, it's Mustafa Suleiman. I'm not sure why people are not losing their minds for this. Power read.
2 reasons. One, there's still an unfortunate amount of people who believe that AI is a fad, that it's just the next piece of technology, that it's not as big a deal. And 2, people are generally not capable of understanding, like they cannot picture themselves in life-changing moments like this. Like, it's bigger than they have the capacity to understand, right? And it's not a dunk on them. It's just like part of that has to do with the majority of us are stuck in our day-to-day, go to work, get the kids off to school, make dinner, that kind of thing. And we don't have a chance to like explore anything else outside that. That is the functional, again, I'm speaking about the United States because this is where I live and this is what I understand. So like they're gonna see this and they're going to think that it's just some tech bro talking about, tech bro shit. What up, Reading Rap? Did we cover the longevity escape velocity video? I haven't watched it yet. Do. You mean this one right here? Pansy is coming. 7 lifestyles for longevity escape. That's next up in the rack, my man. Your timing is excellent. Reading Rap, I know you're a big reader. The new book, Mustafa Suleiman, The Coming Wave, highly recommended. Absolutely get your hands on it. And like it's current, right? A lot of the AI books are a few years old, which unfortunately puts them before a lot of the current stuff that we're seeing, and it can end up, partly coming across being a little bit out of date, right? Because it's fascinating. Yeah. So what it sounds like this article is, and what David's video here is a kind of a summary of what is being talked about in the book. But still, consume the book.
Redistribution. So he's talking extensively about how this technology will disrupt the existing power structures and redistribute it. He's talking about how AI
disrupt the existing power structures and redistribute it.
is unique in terms of technological advancements. It's not just another iPhone moment. There's a few reasons that it's different, and that primarily led by the democratization of technology. It's getting more powerful, it's getting cheaper, and it's getting faster. Not only that, it's advancing faster than any other technology we have seen. And then he goes on to talk about the power reshuffling, basically the unprepared professional classes, which is a big reason for the work that I do. When I talk about post-labor economics, we need to start preparing for an era where middle-class white-collar jobs are the first to go. And then he talked.
It is to each according to their ability, or from each according to their ability, and to each according to their needs, right? Like David is a PowerPoint king. We stand David's PowerPoints, and he's got the time to put them together and present them to the world, for free. And I am here to get it to the Twitch universe, right? And then y'all are here to take my videos and seed the world with, why they should be watching the #1 AI news program on Twitch. Namin.
Talked about pessimism aversion, which is basically this is something that a lot of people criticize, rightly so, Silicon Valley, for looking at the world through rose-colored glasses. And then finally talking about need for preparation, which again is why I'm here. Okay, so check out the article if you want. Pause it. Like I said, it's really short, or just take my word for it. But like I said, it's very straightforward. So here's the analysis. Let's break it down. New ownership models. This is one of the key things that keeps emerging. And of course, there's a lot of people that are talking about cryptocurrencies and DAOs and that sort of stuff. So blockchain technology could be an ingredient in new ownership.
Thank you, Milf. I got a whole... Y'all don't clip me enough. I'm pretty. I do the thing. And you don't clip me. I need more clips so that I can get on the featured clip thing, right? But that's up to y'all. I am not so full of myself, and I don't have enough time in my day to clip my own content. I need your help to make that happen.
Models. But as I've talked about how AI will likely destroy jobs and disrupt markets, one thing that we're going to see is that, and I'm not saying like, oh, we should, get Comrade Marx up and, seize the means of production. I just use this graphic because I think it's hilarious to use the anime filter. Anyways, here's how new ownership model.
I know. Again, a lot of people use me as like a podcast. I'm on in the background. They don't necessarily have time to do it. Any of that kind of stuff. I'm just, like if you can, right? From each according to their ability, to each according to their need. I need more clips. If you have the ability, do it the thing. Hello, Kit Falbo. What is repurposing copyrighted works done by others? The AI, the art, that kind of stuff. That's what they are trained on. There are some issues with copyrighted works being trained. No, calm down. Slow your roll. But that's not what they produce, right? They don't repurpose copyrighted works in their modes of production. They don't create through like taking different pieces of some other copyrighted work and smashing them together. They create all new things from the ground up. They are trained on copyrighted works. That is an issue. That is going to be resolved in court. There's a bunch of lawsuits going on right now to address exactly that issue, right? And what I hope to see, and what I have consistently stated regarding that, is that people will be compensated for the use of their work. There will be licensing and things like that. No, that's you're again. Except when you see the Getty image logo randomly show up in art or text that is from jargon based on solely copyrighted works. So, the reason that the Getty logo showed up in at least one image, right? I know that there's one image. I don't know that there are a bunch of images. And it doesn't randomly show up in art. What it does is that it's creating the image from the pixel level, and because it was trained on Getty Images, the art thinks that that logo is part of what we want to see in the art, right? So that's how that happens. It's not like it grabbed a piece of the Getty image and then slapped it in there and mushed it up a little bit. That's not how the AI creates art, right? It does it from the pixel level. It creates new stuff. There's a few different ways it does it. One, for instance, is a thing called the GAN, Generative Adversarial Network, in which case the one part of it makes a piece of art, and or makes something, and then the other part says, no, that doesn't look like a dog, and then it tries to make it look more like a dog, and then this thing says it doesn't look like a dog, and then it tries to make it look more like a dog, and then it says, okay, that looks like a dog. And it, like, there's much more going on in there, but that is like a very surface level of how it makes a picture of a dog. So in that context, the adversary to the AI that was creating the art says, well, like, this is a black and white image and it should have this thing here. Again, the issue is related to what it was trained on, which was copyrighted works, and those people deserve compensation 100%. And it's why a lot of the format going forward is an engagement in between the AI companies like OpenAI and Shutterstock, where they will have non-copyrighted works in order to train future models, or that the copyrights are stuff that they can license. What I believe that the outcome related to the lawsuits is going to be is you're going to see a variety of licensing agreements. What up, Alina? A variety of licensing agreements. You're going to see some compensation for the artists. People have found ways to break down the data sets in order to determine exactly how much of which work was done, and there are some, like authors, for instance, Stephen King. Stephen King said, and I'm paraphrasing, but like, even if he wanted to stop AI from learning off his work, he would not do that. They're doing workarounds with TOS like Zoom, trying to claim all copyrighted works. That's not what happened with Zoom. What Zoom was doing was that they wanted to use anything that was available through their system. They chose an opt-out as opposed to an opt-in, and now they have since scaled that back by giving people like that, they're not going to use that stuff. In the same way that Discord is going to be using some stuff to train their stuff and other stuff not. Twitter is using every one of your tweets to train their AI, what X AI or whatever the hell it's going to be called. So it is the right of a company to create a terms of service in which they determine what they want to do, and it is your right as a user to not use their service. Right? That is not a workaround. That is a contract. That is an agreement between the creators of the platform and you. I have to adhere to the terms of service of Twitch. I have to agree to all their rules. I have to behave in a certain way. I cannot do whatever I want when I am here. It is the same thing. Seems to me that copyright holders should have protected their work from public consumption if they didn't wish the public to consume their products. That is definitely one thing. Like, there is definitely an assumption of ownership on the internet. You see it if any of you are still on Facebook. Every so often, someone will do a copy pasta of, if you post this thing, then Facebook or Meta is not entitled to use any of the works that you create, blah, 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 blah. And it's a whole bunch of horseshit. Like, you agree to the terms of service, you are locked into whatever those terms of service say. And if you haven't read all those terms of service, then you might be agreeing to the use of your stuff without, your permission, because you have signed those rights away. That's contract law, that's terms of service, that is day one on the internet kind of stuff. You're like, and like, how many of us have read the EULA on any video game that we have played or any piece of software that we interact with? And if you say that you have, I find that highly unlikely, but I will believe you because I'm not going to have that argument.
Models are going to actually emerge. First, shrinking margins, because tech is going to drive down prices. As margins get narrower, a lot of companies and sectors and industries, they're just not going to be viable anymore.
It's been so long since I watched a South Park, so I don't know that one that you're talking about, but I'll believe you because I know you. I've seen you around, and I believe that when you say something, it's generally as true as you understand it.
And what I mean by that is they're not going to be profitable from an extraction capitalist model. Instead, they're going to be so cheap that you might as well just have them as municipal services. So there's been a few people that have messaged me that are talking about, rather than focusing on universal basic income, one of the things that we'll see is universal basic services. So I've talked about hospitals in several videos where I expect that the margins of hospitals are going to become so narrow that they're basically not going to be feasible as for-profit entities. And so they're just going to have to be provided by the government the same way that the government just provides roads. So universal basic services, shrinking margins. Another thing is that as some of these...
And while I appreciate David, while I appreciate Mustafa Suleiman and like that, they definitely have some blinders when it comes to certain aspects, or at least their presentation expresses those blinders to me. Like, he compared the idea of this to roads, right? Depending on where you live, that means different things, right? If you look outside your front door and you, some of my art is up there and on as many possible things that you might want to get that stuff on. If you look outside, what does your road look like, right? Is it a maintained road? Is it quality? Calm down. Or is it like, does it have potholes, right? Like, I drove down a piece of road today that obviously what I was seeing is that heavy trucks had been driving down this road, and this was not a road intended for heavy trucks. So you can say that, like, access to AI and the fruits of AI are, should be universal services provided by the government. But even under current conditions, that means different things in different places. And if you don't address that, then you're going to have different kinds of AI for different people and different proceeds of those AIs going to different people. So that needs to be addressed.
These goods and services become too cheap to be viable business models, it just makes sense for them to transition to collective ownership, either run and managed by municipal governments or by collectives of private individuals.
Now, again, and this is why, like, David is, kind of liberal, kind of libertarian, but like open, like I feel like I could have a conversation with him, is that he does understand that these kind of things exist. It's just his solutions are different from mine, right? He understands that we are going to need a new model, a post-work model, once we get to the other side of whatever the AI will bring us, and that you're probably not going to be able to gauge in what we currently engage in any realistic way. It's just not viable, right? For a variety of different reasons. And one he just stated, as you drive down those costs, if you cannot profit from it, then those are services that should go to, to be collective ownership, whether it's like a governmental organization or, a collective of people, depending on how like anarchist leaning you want to get with it. However, we have seen things like water, right, that have privatized, right? And water is one of those things. Water should be available to everyone regardless. And we have privatized those things, for a variety of reasons, right? Like, so there's a gap here that needs to be bridged. But David is one of the people that I feel that, like, if I sat down and talked with them, like, they could either explain to me why they have these, what I call blinders, and they might have very good reasons. No, I'm well aware of that, but this, and this. And then we can have a conversation over that. I feel like Mustafa Suleiman is like in that same boat. I would love to be able to have a conversation with him around this, because there are certain features that tend to show up which indicate, like, you know, a distance from problem, right? Like, if you constantly spend your time in nice neighborhoods, right, then you are going to have a particular view of how the world actually is. If you transit between a variety of different kinds of neighborhoods, then you are going to see that there are definite problems that need definite solutions. And you can't broad brush that. You have to really, like, how are we going to fix this? Because we haven't fixed it in a couple hundred years. You know what I mean?
Whatever happens. But the underpinning thing is that automation and the decentralization of AI is going to be one of the primary drivers, and basically necessitate this. And it's not like I'm not saying put the cart before the horse. I'm not saying, hey, you know, burn it all down and start over. I'm just saying a lot of goods and services will need to transition to new ownership models as they become unviable. Democratization.
And there's another thing is that, like, he is speaking. If you explore the world of AI conversation, like on Twitter, you will see certain political and socioeconomic type folks, right? And they dominate this space. And if you are going to transition those people away from that type of thinking to a different type of thinking, you are going to have to speak to them where they are and not necessarily use words like seize the mean of production except as a meme like he did earlier, right? Like, you, wherever someone is, you have to speak to them where they live, not where you live. You have to get Suburban America, what world? My 2 kids, my dog, and my immaculate lawn are the world. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I got an immaculate lawn over here and a less immaculate lawn over here. And mine, biodiversity, baby.
Of information. Basically, AI is the realization of what the internet promised. And so for those of us that are in our mid to late 30s, we remember when in the 90s, the rise of the internet, everyone said it's the information superhighway. And of course, no one has said information superhighway in like 20 years. But the idea was that instant access to all information on the planet was going to completely change the world. And of course, it did change the world. But having hypothetical access to information and being able to practically use it are entirely different things. It's kind of like when the Human Genome Project was done, and it's like, hey, we've mapped the entire genome. Now what? Well, we can't make heads or tails of it, so it doesn't really matter. So it wasn't until we had more modern artificial intelligence to look at genomic data to make sense of it. So in other words, what artificial intelligence really does in terms of access to information is it makes it much more accessible and it allows you to make sense of it. And this basically is a superpower for everyone. Okay, so the preparation part. Mustafa and I both agree we need to prepare and we are not yet prepared. So here's some of the things that he talks about and that I talk.
No one is prepared. No one is preparing. We are like, Bulbous posts his garden on Blue Sky. Go follow him. Don't have Blue Sky. Get in line for free. Invite in the Discord. Yeah, if you want to be on Blue Sky and you are not on Blue Sky, we got a spot. I don't know. Maybe people don't want to be on Blue Sky, but if you do, we got them. We got invites, and you can get them. Join the Discord. Go do the thing. And yeah, I every so often, once a new set of blooms come out, if you want to see pretty flowers, I love pretty flowers. I like hummingbirds and bees and butterflies, and to get those, you got to grow pretty flowers. And the other thing about gardening, especially like, there's a thing called an English garden, which is where you use natural plant competition in order to maintain, the space. And that's my approach. And so I have a wide array of different flowers that bloom at different times, and it takes time. You can't expect instant solutions. You got to be patient. And gardening is one of the things that has helped teach me patience.
Talk about this is our overlap. So the number one thing is accountability and transparency. We need to make sure that we start using AI in government and accountability and transparency as soon as possible. So some ideas I have for this is legislative review. I have quite a few videos that I did last year using ChatGPT and other API calls to slice and dice and read new legislation and bills and proposals that are coming out. This is a really good use of these tools because nobody's going to take the time to read a 600-page piece of legislation every single week as this stuff comes out. But AI is more than happy to read it for you, and it can read it in about 30 seconds.
He also created a program. He's got a great video on this, in which he created a program that generates basically NPCs for legislative process. It assigns them a variety of different, categories, like across the board. Pretty much everything you could think of. And it generates an NPC that then ChatGPT has to develop an argument to pitch UBI to that NPC, right? And so it creates a series of these, variations on these different arguments that you can then, theoretically, you could use these, that if you want to get UBI passed, you would be able to communicate UBI across the population, right? Regardless of their particular circumstances, how does UBI work for them? I thought it was amazing.
Is going to be a really good superpower that allows us to stop fraud and corruption of people slipping stuff into legislative bills. Voter advocacy. So this is something that a lot of people have started talking about in various sectors, which is, what if you have an autonomous AI agent that advocates on your behalf around the clock on all issues that you care about? So this idea was, it existed before OpenAI's project on the democratic inputs to AI, but democratic inputs using either autonomous or semi-autonomous AI, that just makes sense.
Your shield concerning your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Resistance is futile.
What up,
Potential and the
Raiders?
peril here are huge.
What up, Raiders?
Potential and the peril here are huge.
Thank you for the follows. I can do it. Rare my
AI is ultimately a mirror, and it will reflect back exactly who we are.
I appreciate some of my mods being here to help me out.
The
Thank
potential
you.
and the peril here are huge.
Thank you, James, for the sub. As always, I appreciate your support. I can't express it enough. What up, Raiders? If you don't know me, what up? I'm Globus the Elder. I talk about AI, robots, futurism, what the future is going to look like. If you want to know about AI, this is the place on Twitch, because it is the only place on Twitch that talks about AI. I would like some competition. I would like to step my game up. If anybody wants to start an AI stream, not like AI Jesus, but actually to talk about AI, that'd be great. so I could have some competition. What up, Adric? Thank you for all the follows. Welcome in. I hope you had a good time. I know the vibes. And if you feel like it,
and the peril here are huge.
this is my sub goal, and I'm trying to hit that sub goal by the 11th. To make sure that I get the payout. This is my sub goal. It's 25. So real easy. 12 people want to get together and share out some subs and gift subs. I understand it's Wednesday. People don't get paid till Friday. Maybe not. Today's not the day for you, but
The potential and the peril here are huge.
But I love the follows. Thank you for the follows. Let's get back into it. We're watching a David Shapiro video. Mustafa Suleiman of Inflection AI just put out a new book. I've been recommending it. I just started reading it. I'm about halfway through. Called The Coming Wave. I highly recommend it. If you want to understand what's going on with AI and where we are going to short term, I highly recommend this book. David is talking about AI
is ultimately a mirror, and it will reflect back exactly who we are.
Thank you, Old Lobster. Also,
Like
the wind
any
beneath
other
my
shiny
wings.
toy, AI is ultimately a mirror.
And every one of those is going to pop off.
Exactly who we are.
You got deep fried angel wings.
Like any other shiny
Sacrificial MILF. Like, good day to be here in chat, MILF. Maddie, nice. Kohai. And Evan, nice. That was a nice blast.
Reflects back exactly who we are.
So, give some love to Old Lobster. Like
any other shiny new toy, AI is ultimately a mirror.
Old Lobster is definitely a solid portion of my support structure. We got a Discord. If this is your first time here, you might want to join the Discord. Every video, every article that I cover is contained within the Discord, so you can catch up, see what's relevant to you, share it to other people. If you're not talking about AI, then you're not prepared for what's coming, and I want you to be prepared. I want you to see how you can use AI in your own daily life, at work, wherever, in order to be to be successful and keep the money going until we make this transition. The transition is coming, and David is going to tell us more about it.
It can help solve the coordination problem and ensure that everyone gets their needs met. Basically, the rest of these points are just kind of delving a little bit deeper and rehashing some of these ideas. So I'm not going to bore you with reading everything to you. The second thing is decoupling production. So this is what I mean when I talk about post-labor economics. What's going to happen, whether we like it or not, I'm just saying that because it is inevitable, we should advocate for it and make it happen deliberately, is labor reduction. We use AI and automation to get people out of jobs altogether. What are we going to do? We're going to spend more time with friends, family. We're going to spend more time with civic engagement. We're going to spend more time with our hobbies, so on and so forth. Now, the biggest problem with this, and this is what Mustafa is alluding to, is that this will absolutely destroy white-collar jobs, most white-collar jobs. And it is possible that some jobs will come back or that some new jobs will be created. But as I've mentioned in my recent videos, AI is proving to be better, faster, cheaper, and safer than humans in a lot of capacities, and that's only going to get better with time. And so the primary way that this disrupts the power structure in society, and not necessarily for the better, is that the power of labor declines. Our ability as laborers and consumers declines. So what does this mean? I actually saw some people posting my videos on Reddit, and they're saying, okay, well, if all this happens, how are we, the people, going to even have money to buy goods and services provided by
AI doesn't do well in real life without a human overlord. in the here and now, there, like, you won't find me disagreeing. Like, everything about the here and now, it requires human moderation, human observation, human feedback, right? We are closer than might be comfortable for some people to a point where AI can be fully autonomous, right? It's don't look at Midjourney not being able to draw hands and think AI is, AI just ain't doing it, right? Every issue has been addressed within a very short amount of time. This will continue to be the case, right? The meme is Midjourney can't draw hands, AI can't draw hands. If you look now, AI is very good at drawing hands, and it took a very small amount of time to address that particular issue. It will take longer for AI to become fully autonomous, but there are seeds of that autonomy that already exist. It depends on your, like, I mean,
Hey guys, welcome to the.
when is this from? Oh, this is from 6 months ago. This isn't helpful. You can trust me and just say, like, just trust me, bro. But this is from the 31st. You look at the hair. You tell me. Is it perfect? Probably some room for improvement. Is it damn close to really? Look at the bottom though. You mean these little tufts of hair coming off that are out of focus because it's centralized focus on the nose? Here, this one's a little more in focus. Maybe that satisfies you.
By companies that hold all the cards. The biggest thing here is that we need to negotiate a new social contract. So the current social contract says that the government mediates the relationship between business and labor. That is the way that things work because businesses rely on human labor and the power.
I get your vibe, and that's why I'm not saying you're wrong, right? I'm saying that what you're looking at might not be the fullest extent of its capabilities. There are, AI is good for all the worlds. But if you actually invest some time in looking at what the state of AI art's current capabilities are, yeah, it definitely, like, what, even if there are issues, this is the current state, and it's been a year, 6 months, depends on the model. There's a variety of stuff happening.
Power dynamic between those three entities basically says the government says, hey, I'm going to play referee and make sure that the businesses get what they want and need, and that the people get what they want and need. We've been under neoliberalism for about 40 years now, which means that we've strongly favored businesses. The pendulum needs to swing in the other direction.
Thank you, Mil.
Why? Because labor is about to go out the door, and so instead of business, laborers, and government, the new social contract is going to be between business, labor, businesses, government, and citizen. Sorry, I probably said that wrong. I think you get what I mean. So by reshuffling and restructuring the power dynamics of our society instead of around,
And this is something that I've been talking about. I've been like sugarcoating it and like gently easing in the idea that, again, while I am pro-labor, I am a union man. I was raised by union parents. Okay. It is difficult to have labor power when there aren't jobs. Labor's power comes from the ability to withhold labor. In the future, there will be no labor. All labor can and will be automated. That is incorrect. Like, there is nothing about that statement that you just made that is accurate. I'm sorry, AI skill it still has to control machines to do things. That is accurate, right? In the same way that your brain controls the meat suit to do things, AI will control robots to do the things. The difference is you are one person and the AI can be as many robots as it needs to. The AI, maybe not today, but the robots will be able to repair the robots and they will be able to diagnose them. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but sooner than I think you are comfortable with.
business, labor, and government. Now it needs to be business, citizens, and government. It needs to include everyone. Okay.
No, you are definitely not prepared for what is coming. It is not centuries from now. Like, by the end of this decade, the way that we go about life is going to be unrecognizable. I'm not joking. I'm not being hyperbolic. This is a statement of fact. Yeah. No, I mean, like, if we want to get broad paradigm, like, AI is like, conceivably you can go back into like the 50s and 60s, but like in the current iteration cycle, yeah, like we are running through generations, especially as it relates to art and the LLMs and the capabilities. And if you were here on Monday, you saw the video from AI Explained that we may be in fact underrating the capabilities of the AIs because the tests that we're using to test the AIs may have actual errors in them. Definitely Dr. Pepper on demand.
So, thanks for watching. I hope this got your juices flowing and you're ready to be engaged. Vote like you mean it because, well, that's what it's all going to come down to is we the people taking power back and choosing politicians that understand this and advocate vociferously on our behalf. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Hey, everybody. David Shapiro here.
It was like, I've got it. I've got this streamer bit, right? This is 7 lifestyles for longevity escape velocity. This is like we just went through an article earlier about how we've already had the ability to turn cells in the body back into stem cells. Now we have developed the ability to remove any of the memory of those cells. Like normally there's some leftover aspects of whatever cell that they were taken from to become the stem cell. Now we have the ability to remove that. No, bro. Like, I was not memeing when I said don't plan on dying. Like, I am going to live forever. I'm going to live for as long as it's interesting, and it's a big ass universe, baby.
With a video. So today's video is going to be about longevity, escape velocity, and more specifically, how we're going to live when we live forever. So welcome to Longevity Lifestyles. Now, before we get started, I need to give you a little bit of context. What are the assumptions that I'm making, and what are the trends that I'm paying attention to? So first and foremost, the primary prediction is that panacea is coming. And there's three primary trends that I'm paying attention to when I make this assertion. First, AI drug discovery. If you watch my recent video,
and I am pause daddy today, but if you want hopium, I cannot do better than what's happening with AI. Do you want that socialist, Marxist, communist utopia, right? Like, AI can give that to you. Do you want, even if you don't want immortality, do you just want health for everyone? AI can give that to you. Do you want universal health care? AI can give that to you. It all stems from this. I'm not joking. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm so in there, dude. I think the point one is even closed-minded. Wait for custom tailor-made drugs. It works specifically for whatever computer or commuter figured out from its diagnosis of you. Well, let's give him a chance to pop off.
About orphan drugs and the FDA approving the...
I mean, you're relying on my pause, and then you're talking shit about his. He hadn't even had a chance to make his argument yet.
First AI-generated orphan drug for rare diseases. Granted, it's not fully approved, but it is in phase 2 clinical trials.
Yeah, there. If you weren't here on Monday, David's got another video on the first fully AI-developed drug. It's for a kind of pulmonary fibrosis. It's entered phase 2 trials. If everything goes the way that we hope it goes, then the sky's the limit. The fact, Mel said something. It sounds amazing at what literal cost, so the fat cats at top will make its money. I understand that. Like, that is where we all tend to lean to, because we have, we live in this capitalist hellscape. I highly recommend that you watch some David Shapiro videos about the post-work economy and things like that, because that is actually what he addresses. They aren't going to be able to, and in the previous video, that's what and I paused him the hell out of a 10-minute video, and that might have screwed up the fluidity of the thought, but we are talking about it is going to change the entire nature of the way that we produce and the way that, the availability of resources. They aren't going to be able to, make all the money, because money as it exists, money is fake, but it is going to be even more faker coming soon. Reading ahead is like pre-watching between the globe is. I'm excited for distributed computing theory. I've actually heard some good refutations of that argument, believe it or not, even from a leftist perspective. Yeah, there are some people who it is difficult to picture. What's the meme? It is easier for someone to picture the end of the world than it is to picture the end of capitalism. And I'm not bagging, and it's even the people who came in here adamantly against the entire idea of AI. I'm not going to bag on you. I'm not going to make you feel not smart for not understanding it. I have access to all the information that I have streamed so far, which is why I make it available. You can watch the VODs. You can see where my arguments come from. I did not get here overnight, right? we all start somewhere, and I am willing to take the time to help you understand why I think the things I think, why I say the things I say, the entire construction both of this stream, my entire philosophy, everything around this. It's all built on a structure. It all has a scaffolding. I can get you there, and I'm willing to put in the time if you're willing to put in the good faith.
So basically, this is a sign of the ramp up to AI discovering all drugs for all diseases. Now, that's obviously a prediction. It's not guaranteed. It's not a foregone conclusion, but it is a step in the right direction. Number 2 is rejuvenation therapies. Some of the biggest universities in the world, Harvard, MIT, and a few others, have been releasing papers recently about whole body rejuvenation, cellular rejuvenation, chemical cocktails. And these are things that do not require genetic engineering. These are just medicines that can be taken sometimes orally, and in other cases via injection or other vectors of administration that create rejuvenation, basically a legitimate real-life fountain of youth. And this is not just on mouse models. Some of these are on human models, meaning that we are very, very close to having general-purpose medicines that, one, are cheap and easy and accessible, that also promise to move us closer to indefinite lifespan. And then finally, number 3 is using AI in the sensing, detection, prevention, and modeling of diseases. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so if you can detect and prevent the disease, you've probably seen some of the trends out there lately of AI being able to predict, Alzheimer's, several decades in advance, being able to calculate exactly like where the cancer is or what's wrong with your brain just with a few drops of blood, that sort of stuff. So these 3 trends combined, between AI drug discovery, rejuvenation therapies, and then finally the sensing, detection, prevention, and modeling of diseases. This is what I mean when I say panacea is coming, and AI is the medical panacea. Okay, so with that assumption, with those trends and extrapolations in mind, here's what I predict is going to happen to set the stage for longevity lifestyles. Number 1, indefinite life.
I understand where your point of view comes from. What I need you to do is do a little more listening, follow along. He's going to make the arguments. You're going to be able to see it all, but you have to be open to the idea that your position might be incorrect. If you just want to keep popping off, you're going to have a much more difficult time understanding what is being explained to you. And I mean that with the best of intent. Critical Rad Theory, sup? What I'd be curious about is how to build their own AI. Do you know of any website to find a GPT? Old Lobster. Old Lobster is more than happy to help you out with that. Like there is, like GitHub. Like make sure you got a GitHub account, and they're Old Lobster. Join the Discord, and you'll be able to have access to a whole bunch of interesting things. And if you want, you can go back and check some of my VODs, or go directly to Matt Wolf, spelled with an E, Wolf with an E. Has a whole bunch of videos about a variety of different tools and how to use those tools with each other. That we watch Matt Wolf. We're going to watch one a little bit later. We watch a lot of Matt Wolf's videos on here like that. Seriously on the verge of creating open source. What up, Jason? Everything. This is where we've been trying to get to since the advent of the internet. Yeah, and beforehand. Like, there's a whole bunch of, there are some parts that are still not there yet, but there's a sight line to it. Like, we can travel from where we are to there, and they're not technical issues to be overcome. There are simply like technical things that have to be built. We're on a path. and it's beautiful, but people need to get prepared because life is going to change drastically.
Lifespan. We are ramping up to longevity escape velocity. Some people have asked me if we're already there, and I kind of think that we are, because when you look at the definition of longevity escape velocity, it is that for every year of life, you gain more than a year of life expectancy. Now, as some people have pointed out, right now, particularly because of the pandemic and depression and other reasons, life expectancy has not increased, as particularly for young people, and it's actually still going down. So technically, it might be a little while before we feel the effects, but with compounding returns and acceleration of AI, I suspect that within 5 to 10 years, we will definitely have really concrete data about longevity escape velocity. And honestly, within 10 years, I suspect everyone's going to be like, look back at this video and be like, wow, Dave, that was really quaint. This either aged really well, or I like completely, I like undersold and underpredicted how much it's going to be. So we'll see. Time will tell. Number 2, post-labor economics. So
this is like this right here. He's going to briefly touch on post-labor economics, but like, again, like SW3DP, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that. Like this is a teaching and learning space. So like that is the approach of anyone who like spends time here and hangs out here. Like we have a collective idea that we all want the better. You know what I mean? So
The potential and the peril here are huge.
there's the Discord. Join the Discord and make access. We got a variety of different tabs, and the links from stream and the videos from stream get filled up after every stream. All the videos I cover, all the articles I cover go into those, and then the various other tabs in there are, more or less depending on how rambunctious people are feeling and how much they want to contribute. So I'm more than happy if a space is needed, we will expand space and create space to discuss, specific topics related to AI and technology and teaching in that regard. What up, Lenny?
this is something that I'm constantly talking about. Basically, as AI ramps up and it gets better at solving things like medical issues and disease prevention, those improvements are going to be commensurate with other improvements, which are basically just going to invalidate the need for human labor. And so then part of the longevity lifestyles is going to be, let's combine longevity with post-labor and let's see how we're going to live. Number 3, I think that hospitals are going to collapse. Most diseases, particularly in affluent, industrialized nations, are age-related. I don't know about you, but like from the time that I was born, the next time that I went to the hospital was in my 30s. So I went like more than 3 decades without going to the hospital. And if everyone is like locked into, a 22-year-old body or 25-year-old body, that level of health and vigor, most people might never need to go to the hospital except unless they get into like a car accident or to give birth. And because of that, I think that hospitals as a business model are just going to go away. And so I suspect that the few hospitals that remain are basically going to be government services, just because the margins are going to be too thin and it won't make sense. Now, what we might do is subsidize private industry, because we're in the free market theory, and so rather than the government providing the service, it might just be that the government writes a check so that the business is profitable. Not sure. Number 4, and I think that if you look at Reddit and the subreddit r/suburban hell, I think this is probably the best news for everyone, is that suburbs are going to collapse. And so the reason is,
like, I don't care what your personal leftist gripe is, right? Like, it is going to be addressed. Like, you don't like suburbs? Suburbs are going to be gone. What up, DJ? Long time no see. Yeah, like, but again, the capitalists, even as we understand them, are going to radically change, if not completely be eliminated.
Like any other shiny
Yo!
new toy, AI is ultimately a mirror, and it will reflect back exactly who we are.
Is that it? Oh, one more. Like,
any
but
other
thank you,
shiny new
DJ.
toy,
Thank you.
AI is
Magic,
ultimately a mirror,
Wolf
and it will reflect
Glenn,
back exactly
Social
who we
Deviant,
are.
who's always in here hiding out. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. Like, I see you though.
Like any other
Joint
shiny new toy,
Specialist,
AI is
Corey
ultimately a
Campbell,
mirror,
nice.
and it will
Yeah,
reflect back
just
exactly
some
who we
nice
are.
blast today. One more, chat.
Thing is, like
If
any
you
other
wanna,
shiny
if
new
you wanna
toy,
be the
AI
one,
is
you can be the
ultimately a
one. You
mirror,
just
and it
one
will reflect
more
back
sub,
exactly who
and
we
that
are.
is the entire goal for. What up, Octavia? And you
Is,
can
like any
you
other
can
shiny
be
new toy,
the
AI is ultimately
bestest.
a mirror, and it will reflect back exactly who we are.
There's a weird thing with like people gifted themselves. Hey, I don't know what happened. It says that I made the thing, but like, and it made the thing, but I don't see the sub. I don't know.
Is, like
There it
any
is.
other shiny new toy, AI is ultimately a mirror, and it will reflect back exactly
Jason.
who we are.
All right. Thank you. That's it. I'm not gonna shill. Unless that number drops below 25. I'm not gonna shill. It is a shill-free stream going forward until that number drops down.
As people live longer, we're going to have fewer children because what's the rush? We're going to have different lifestyles. But also with post labor economics, suburbs are really optimized for being close to the city where the jobs are. But if you're not working in the city, then you don't need to be close to the city. You don't need to be within commuting distance. And also, they're optimized for single family homes. And if you're not having children, you don't need to live in the suburbs. So I suspect that suburbs are going to go the way of the dinosaur, and we will look
Thank you,
back,
Milf.
maybe not so fondly on that period of American history and say, wow, suburbs were a terrible idea. I'm glad that died a quick death. Again, this might age poorly. We'll see. Okay, now that the stage has been set, let's talk about longevity lifestyles. All right, so number one, urban socialites. So urban socialites are the people that want to live in the cities and stay in the cities forever. Basically, imagine that you've got a 25-year-old body and you just want to live it up day in, day out. You want to go to concerts, you want to go to raves, you want to go clubs. I remember I went out on a date with a woman and went dancing or whatever. I'm a terrible dancer, so didn't do that again. But I went back to her place to meet her roommate and stuff, and she's like, yeah, whatever. I'm not interested in anything getting tied down because I'm young and hot. And I was just like, that is when I made this slide. I was like, that's who I was thinking of, was that girl and her roommate that were just like, we're young, we're living it up, we're gonna enjoy the time while our bodies are at our peak attractiveness and that sort of thing. So this is like fast-paced life. It's all about experiences. It's all about getting out there and meeting a lot of people. Now, I'm not saying that people are going to be urban socialites forever, but rather than just doing it in your 20s, you might be able to do it for several decades. Number two, rural hermits. So this is more my speed. I am a hobbit. These are people who just want to decamp to the countryside to, smoke their pipe weed and read books and eat good food, maybe have a garden and brew some ale, basically live like Bilbo or Frodo, their ideal life out in the countryside. Now there's a bunch of different ways. Obviously, not everyone's going to wear a waistcoat and read old Victorian books. Some people might do it for spiritual reasons. Some people might do homesteading or whatever. But the idea is that proximity to nature, peace and quiet, solitude, that sort of thing. Minimalism could be another reason that people want to decamp to the countryside.
And that's there's a crossover between that, the Hobbit lifestyle, but with the commune, right? Like, who saw Lord of the Rings and the way that the hobbits were living and were like, that sucks? They were just chilling, having a grand old time. Yeah, not everyone was, like they all had their different personalities and whatnot, but there was like it was a chill vibe. They would party and like have a good time, like imagine those wizards come with fireworks. That's your boy right here. I will show up at 11 Z's, baby. 11 Z's. Yeah, the only reason you need feet prisons is because you might step on something that you don't want to step on. You could totally, like, just your little hobbit commune could take care of all the sticks and stones and glass and anything else that might cut the hobbit's feetses, and you could just walk around in the meadows and have a grand old time. There's always the bugs. You got to deal with the bugs and like that. But, like, this is a total vibe, man.
Number 3, so a slightly alternative model for the countryside is social communes. So obviously urban life is not everyone's speed. That's not my speed. So this is probably closer to what I would want to do, where rather than grouping together for work, because that's why we cluster around cities right now, today at least. Some people cluster in cities for social reasons, but by and large, cities are there because they are a nexus, a hub of work, and also social hubs. But imagine that you want community life, but not in the dense urban environment. America and a lot of other places have a lot of open space. And so because of the high cost of cities, I suspect that particularly as post-labor economics ramps up and people need stuff to do, I think that like small towns and, like planned neighborhoods out in the countryside are just going to be a thing. So whether or not it's a full-on commune or at least just a small planned community that is very community-centric, I think that this is just going to be a thing. And I actually predict that like a lot of people are going to live like this, where it's just like, oh, hey, here's a little town. It's a cluster of 100 houses and everything is focused on creating community centers because people aren't going to be working. So you're going to be in your house, you're going to get bored, and we're just going to plan small towns and villages around social life. The next one, globetrotting adventurers. So there's a lot of people who do this today and aspire to do this. So this is like what the influencer trend and a lot of YouTubers. There are so many people out there that like this is the life that they aspire to, where they just want to travel, they want to document their experiences, they want to become an influencer, they want to become a YouTuber, or TikTok as the young people use today.
Well, not like a gated community, but like it'd be more like the community where it's like a vibe, right? I like, you like if the the groups of like what Burning Man was topical, what Burning Man was like originally intended to be, whatever its faults. We're not talking about the faults, like we're talking about the intent, right? Like if you could have that as a vibe, and then like, hey, I vibe with these people, I'm gonna hang out here, and like that. I am somewhere between these two. Like I feel like I would want to live in a commune type hobbit community, and then when I want to go see something, I can go see it. You know what I mean? And go see amazing places with amazing history, like because the United States, a lot of our history has been, like it has existed for a couple hundred years, and before that, we basically bulldozed over the people who lived here. Some of their history remains and things like that, but like the world is an amazing place where a lot of really interesting things happen. There's food, right? Yeah, and them there might be people who like do the gated community, like this is our space and no one can come in and all like that. And you know what? Those people will be left alone and we'll be over there. And that's the difference, is like the gated community as it currently exists is excluding people from access to resources. In this space, that doesn't exist. So there's going to be less, and this is part of the problem with visualizing it, is there's a lot of conditions that we currently exist under and a lot of behaviors that we engage in, and by we I mean all of us, that are predicated on the world as it currently exists, right? With scarcity of resources and distribution issues and things like that, where oppose that model. It's like you want to get rid of prisons, having everyone, you take care of everyone's material needs, and a lot of that, like, people are not going to need to commit crime in order to take care of their material needs. So that entire thing collapses on its own weight because we've addressed the underlying condition. The problem of the current meta, right, is that we address symptoms, we don't address the underlying conditions. AI has the potential to address the underlying conditions, and then once we do that, everything changes in ways that you can't understand. Lenin, State and Revolution. He talks about how the future communist state that he's thinking of will be made by people who don't live under capitalism, right? And that's why he can't tell you what it looks like, because it's separated by this gulf, this transition, this sea change, this paradigm shift that happens in between here and there. And that's what artificial intelligence is. It is a change in the way that everybody goes about their business. And then you can do what you want, right? If you want to be a hermit and go or establish a libertarian, whatever that means under, the future system. But if you want to just establish your little space and like that, you can do that. And I don't think it's going to work out the way that you think it's going to work out. Not that libertarian paradises don't get overrun by bears on the regular, but like, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about a radical change in the way things are, and very soon, sooner than you are comfortable with, I am telling you.
Today, Instagram, that sort of thing. And so, but imagine that you're going to be young forever and you don't need to work because we have post-labor economics. You don't need a social media following to do this. You just go do it. And you do it for the sake of the adventure from, if you want to go, climb every mountain, or you want to, visit every city in Greece, or whatever it is that you want to do. I have friends.
That the attention economy, right? The fact that your favorite influencer can go off to some random location and take pictures of themselves doing amazing stuff has to do with the scarcity of resources. If anyone can do that, things like Instagram, will be a place where people share stuff organically and authentically, right? And they're gonna, you're gonna put it on Instagram, hey, I'm in wherever the hell, and then some more people are going to come visit the wherever the hell, and maybe they might meet up with you, and it's a whole thing, and you do that kind of stuff, but without the current meta of the way that, like what happened in Maui, right? Where you have all these people with their money and their, disrupting economies and destroying, the nature of what it is to be, a person who lives in Hawaii. And you have, you recognize you have roots there, your people have been there forever. And all that tourism economy, that is gone. It's people going places, and there's a huge difference between people going places and tourism. You know what I mean? Can you understand the difference between those two things and why this is not that? This is individuals and small groups going places to see things, but it's not tourism. They're not undermining that whatever it is to be that place, right? You're not going to have McDonald's everywhere. You're going to have something because food will be readily available to whoever needs it, but it won't be a McDonald's. And it won't be in competition with a Burger King. You won't have a KFC in the shadow of the Great Pyramids of Egypt. That kind of stuff.
Friends that have been to Vietnam, Cambodia, China. One of my friends back in the day, he just like gets a plane ticket, goes somewhere with no plan, and he ended up like on a fishing barge, like going up the river in Vietnam, and all he had to survive for like a week was a jar of peanut butter. I'm like, dude, you are insane. So I was thinking of him when I made this slide. But if you're young and healthy forever, why not? And if you don't need to work, why not? Go for it. The next one, natal pods. So I actually came up with this idea when I was writing my novel about, utopian future and dystopian future and all that sort of stuff. And I realized if we have low birth rates, and children need like a village, the term is like it takes a village to raise a child. We don't really have that today, particularly in America. Some cultures do have like, multi-generational homes. When I was growing up, our neighbors were a Hispanic family. And so there was like 5 generations living in one house. So like they brought the village with them, but we don't know how to do that. At least us white people don't know how to do that in America. So what I suspect is we're probably going to start doing it on purpose. And we actually already are. So there's what's called mommunes right now, which is basically a bunch of single mothers get together and rent a big house so that they raise their families together. So just take that out to a logical conclusion where we do it more on purpose, but also because there's going to be fewer children. In order to get children living in a way that is more natural and healthy for them. Because again, if most people are putting off having children, you're going to need to deliberately create the environment where children will have friends to play with. Because you probably noticed today, at least I've noticed, that in many suburbs, like there might only be one house with children on the street. And that's not good for children. And so natal pods, the idea of deliberately creating that village. Eternal gamers. So, my wife and I, one of the things that we do is we love playing video games together. A bunch of my friends, they're all gamers. That's actually like we have a Discord that one of the things that we do is just coordinate gaming, right? And so one thing that I suspect is that if you have post-labor economics and you have indefinite lifespan, you're like, there are going to be people that they're just going to live for the game, man. Like, especially with VR, AR, some people are expecting full dive VR. I've mentioned that before and I still have some reservations, but I'm coming around on like, you know what? If your physical life is taken care of, why not just go all out and treat your game life like like it's almost like a second life. Or maybe it's your real life. Maybe it's more important. Now, obviously, movies like Ready Player One show that as kind of a dystopian outcome, which that's something to be mindful of, because if the company who makes the games in the VR controls your life, that's not good. But I don't think I hope it doesn't turn out that way. Anyways, I do suspect that there are some people that like that nostalgia factor of like, playing Halo all night with your buddies when you're like 12. We're going to have that, and some people are going to have that for the rest of eternity. And then the last one finally is Master Craftsman.
And this right here, this is what I've talked about on numerous occasions, is the idea that like you will have AI versus human created as an aesthetic choice rather than like competition, right? So that while I can have something 3D printed, the human created thing will have, whatever value to it that I assign to it, right? And it won't be like, like the metaphor analogy, what have you, is that I use is the idea of a walking stick. If I need a walking stick in order to walk, I can 3D print one in the 3D print machine, and then I have a walking stick. But if a master craftsman or someone working, trying to refine their art, and they are They create something and they give it to me. Now it's a gift. Now, like, it has that sense of value, and it's not like the issue with I'm an artist. I create art. I have art that I have created across a variety of different mediums. And the issue that you always run into is if I don't sell my art, then I can't buy more materials. And there's a fundamental issue that all artists run into. So is like and that plays into what you're willing to be able to express yourself as. Once you start getting some kind of regular income from it, then you be able to make more and more, like ambitious choices, and you can try new things. And like for me is like I had to force myself to get into the thing of I am going to create what I create, and if someone wants it, then they will let me know. And I am not going to chase the work, and I am not going to do anything because that way lies madness in it, and I can't express that enough. If you've done art as business, you understand what I'm talking about. Imagine that you could create whatever you wanted to create without that concern, and what you would try, what you would do, how much more time you could spend in perfecting your craft. MILF does, you do digital art, right? Like everything I've seen you create is mostly digital, except you did the one thing, I don't know if it was an iron thing or something, or am I thinking of someone else? But I know you create art. So like, if you just imagine what you would do if you didn't have to worry about like working a job, making some money, you had that time, or replacing these supplies, what you would try. Oh, it didn't work out. Damn, right? Like, feed it back into the machine that breaks this stuff down back into its components and to the replicator, right? Like the de-replicator kind of thing. 100%. You would make them big, like, big giant teddy bears, but they'd be all crocheted. So like this is a thing that can happen. This is not unreasonable. Like this is the direction we are headed in.
So this is something that, like, obviously you don't have to pick just one. You might be a master craftsman out in the countryside.
What up, Supernatural Writer?
You might be a master craftsman in a commune, whatever. But this is where, because one thing that people talk about is like, oh, well, if you lose your job and you're going to live forever, what do you do? Well, I mean, a lot of people have hobbies and talents and skills that they want to hone, right? Like I know guys that they rebuild Mustangs, right? They just go find a barn find of a Mustang, rebuild it, clean it up, either sell it, keep it, or, put it on show or whatever, and then they do it again. There are sculptors, there are writers. This is actually how my wife and I met. We're both writers. If we didn't have to work and we didn't have to worry about our health or anything, we would probably just write. We would like research history, write sci-fi, write high fantasy, and that would be like our shtick. That would be what we do, in terms of challenging ourselves and stretching ourselves mentally. I might probably still do YouTube. I don't know. But we would see. So anyways, this is a set of...
but imagine if you didn't have to worry about anything other than fixing up the car, right? And like, exactly like that's what you did. And people would want your restorations, like people would want that kind of thing. Nice. Very nice.
Potential longevity lifestyles to kind of get the gears turning in terms of how you might live in the future if you don't have to worry about getting old or sick and you don't have to worry about money. All right. So in conclusion, there are some potential problems with all this. Number one is gerontocracy. So if you're not familiar with the word gerontocracy, it means rule by the elderly. And if everyone lives forever, there's no reason that like Supreme Court justices would ever retire. So Basically, we're going to need universal term limits for all government offices, which we should have that anyways before people are living forever. But once people are living for
Those of you who know me know that I find term limits to be inherently undemocratic. But if the difference is one form of undemocratic versus an alternative form of undemocratic, then under those circumstances, I absolutely can see the point of a term limit. Especially like if we live forever, then yeah, we're going to need term limits on the Supreme Court and everywhere. Like, because you do need some amount of disruption.
forever, we absolutely 100% need universal term limits. I think that's that's like a no-brainer solution. So, whatever. Number 2, wealth consolidation. So, we have billionaires today. If people have forever to accumulate more wealth and power, then they're going to be trillionaires and then quadrillionaires. So, and the more money you have, the easier it is to consolidate more power. So the solution to this, I think, is also pretty simple, which is more wealth taxes and more property taxes. Which that's going to be necessary just to keep the economy going. Because if all the money ends up in the hands of the top 10,000 wealthiest people on the planet, what's it doing just sitting there, right?
And this is like David Shapiro makes some arguments, but he still got that capitalist mindset. Like he still believes in capitalism and has Cold War ideas of socialism and things like that, or at least that he expresses those. So there's a point of disagreement that, I would talk to him about and have a conversation with him about.
Right. One of the principles of neoliberalism is that money that's just sitting there isn't doing the world any good because it's stagnant. It's just static wealth that's sitting there doing nothing. So wealth taxes and property taxes to keep things in circulation, or, there's other ways to incentivize that circulation, but wealth taxes and property taxes are a mechanistic way to force that. Number 3 is cultural stagnation. So in universities and academia, there is this little quip that says science advances one funeral at a time. And that is because people often kind of get stuck in their ways. But this is partially, I think, biological, because there's this is not a real medical term, but it's called calcification. And so this is a popular thing in chess, because chess is intensely mentally rigorous, and you can tell when you lose your mental flexibility. I mentioned in a recent video that I've started feeling myself kind of calcifying, which it's really kind of sad, but you hit your mental peak, 25 to 35. So I'm just after my mental peak, and it's all downhill from here. And that really sucks. So what I'm hoping,
I've heard this, right? But I don't feel this. I feel become more mentally flexible over time rather than less. The idea that as you get older, you get more conservative and like that no, that's not me at all across a variety of domains. So I know that this exists, but again, I wonder how much of that type of thinking has to do with the particular socio-economic policies that you choose to endorse, right? And that become fundamental. I didn't come to my leftist, I don't do ists and I don't do isms. I avoid them because they come with baggage. But you would generally, if you wanted to classify me, put me in the leftist camp, right? I didn't come by that. I came by that through a natural progression of values, right? And so one of my fundamental values is that if your socioeconomic system has a factor in it that decides who gets to live and who gets to die, then I reject that socioeconomic system, right? Like everyone should have food. Done. That is a fundamental block. Everyone should have food. We produce enough food to feed everyone. We have distribution networks enough to feed everyone. Everything else is bottlenecks to preventing the food from getting to the people, right? So when someone says that like people should have to buy food, then you are, whether you want to admit this to yourself or not, putting a limiter on who gets to eat. And as the nature of humanity is that we must eat to live, then you have decided that some people get to die. That is the nature of what you are advocating for, that some people will die. I don't accept that. That is the only calcification I have, is my refusal to accept that we create systemic barriers that make people die. Because it's not, you can't make any of the old school arguments of we don't produce enough of this, we don't do enough of that. There's more than enough. We live in an abundance that has been turned into an artificial scarcity. There's enough housing, there's enough clothing, there's enough food, there's enough healthcare, there's enough for everyone. And I'm not accepting any socioeconomic policies or systems that profess otherwise and that say that some people just get to die. Absolutely. Like, I was recently doing the audiobooks of Dune with my son, and we got up to, I don't know, book 5, like in the whole thing, like all the books. I want to say we got book 5 or book 6, and it's not the most action-packed, so we kind of trailed off and are on some other books now, but yeah, no, there's a lot of there is a lot of good ideas in Dune, and there are other ideas. No, I read everything. Something to understand about me is I don't give a shit what your feelings are about any of the movies that take place within the Alien universe, like the Xenomorph, the Sigourney Weaver, the Ripley versus the Alien. I don't give a shit what any of your opinions are about any of those.
Is that some of these
any of those movies? I am a fan of the mythology, and I will consume it all. I will consume all the Predators. I will consume all the Terminators. I will consume all of the things where I'm either a fan of your mythology or I'm not. I'm a fan of all the Marvel comic book movies, right? The whole MCU, all of them, including the Thor movie that everybody likes to bag on and stuff like that. I'm either in or I'm out. And if I'm in, I'm all the way in. Go ahead. Be gone with you.
rejuvenation therapies that we come up with also include mental rejuvenation. Because imagine that you're mentally and physically healthy and flexible for eternity. So maybe if rejuvenation therapies keep us all young, mentally and physically, we will avoid that cultural and scientific stagnation. Another problem is demographic collapse. So people are still divided as to whether or not we're going to end up with overpopulation or underpopulation. One thing that I like to point out, though, is that all advanced nations are facing demographic collapse. And if people are going to live forever, then there's even less pressure on having children. So basically what I think that's going to happen is that we're going to achieve population equilibrium because death rates are going to go down and birth rates are going to go down. So personally, I don't think it's going to be an issue, but we can incentivize population equilibrium with policies. Basically, if birth rates get too low, you hand out incentives like, say, hey, if you have children, then we'll give you a nicer house, or we'll give you a bigger stipend for a nicer house. Because this is something.
I'm not saying that that any of them was like the best movie or anything else like that. I'm a fan. I got a kind of anthology. I guess an anthology. There's another word for it, but like a collection of the Dark Horse Alien comic books. Like, I'm either in or I am out. And if I'm in, I'm in.
Something that some of the comments have said, it's like, oh, well, if you just incentivize people to have children, they're just going to keep having children, which that's the welfare queen myth, which wasn't really true in the first place. But, you can change policy based on what the population demographics are. Now, but the thing is if people are living a long time, if you might actually want to disincentivize having children. So that might mean that you actually don't incentivize people having children at all. You don't give them any additional money to have children. Who knows? We'll see. And then finally, number 5, regulatory capture, which is that governments and businesses collude to ensure that they have all the power and that they focus on wealth generation and profit reaping just for themselves. And basically, they focus entirely on wealth rather than this other dream that we all have. And so the current model of economics basically says the idea is that we should generate wealth at all costs. We should seek GDP growth. This growth only mindset completely excludes quality of life and other metrics. And so basically, what we need to do is come up with a new common dream, a new common image for the future in order to work towards that. So,
see what I'm saying? I can save him. Like, we can come to a consensus. There is room for consensus. Like, there's a bunch of pieces in place, and either he explains to me why the pieces that I think should be there are not in his worldview, or I explain to him why they should be there, and through that we come to some kind of consensus. Just at me, David. I'm real easy to find.
To wrap up, here's my call to action for you. Number 1, advocate for post-labor economics. I talk about it all the time on my channel. It is my jam. Basically, the tenets of post-labor economics is 1, actively work to automate away human jobs. Let's get humans out of the workforce. Because why? None of us want to work menial jobs anyways, so let's get out of that. Let's just make that a deliberate policy goal. Number 2, redistribute wealth. Obviously, if we're not working, we can't demand wealth from our labor anymore, so we're just going to need to redistribute it. And again, that's not like socialism or communism. That is just, it's going to be necessary through some mechanisms to keep the economy going.
He can't, right? Like, or he's speaking to an audience that can't. One of those two things. Either he can't bridge that gap, or he's speaking to an audience that isn't prepared, to bridge that gap. But, like, you can call it apple pie fluffy sundae. I don't care. If everyone's basic needs are met and all the work is automated and everyone is living a fruitful, fulfilling life, you can call it whatever the hell you want.
Because if we don't, then wealth is just going to pile up in the companies and the wealthy people.
Ists and isms carry too much baggage, right? Don't talk to me about your ist or your ism or whatever. Talk to me about what your policies are, and make sure that you've thought them through up and down, all that. Call it Doug. The People's Republic of Doug.
People and the rest of us aren't going to have anything, and the economy stalls out. It's just not good. And then number 3 for post-labor economics, advocate for AI as a public good, which it kind of already is because most of the research driving AI is already open source. But as AI advances, we need to ensure that the government treats it more as a public good, and that's going to.
I am tangentially aware that no labels people exist. I don't know what that means. I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know. I don't care. Like, I don't spend time. I seriously, you don't understand how much AI stuff there is to, like, oh God, yeah, okay, so yeah, there, there is a thing that human beings do where they want all of the upside and none of the responsibility, and that's what that sounds like. Yeah, no, like, no. No, there. I don't have time. I don't have, like, I don't have time for the dude yelling about pronouns on. I'm trying to figure out. I played Baldur's Gate, and I can't figure out if the one dude was flirting with me or if it was a vampire thing or a combination of the both, and like where that's going. But it's like whatever. Maybe the dude, the no pronouns guy, should try something different. See how that works out in the video game universe. If it gets uncomfortable, you can turn it off.
Help drive us towards this post-labor economic model that I've presented. Number 2, champion AI in business. Like I said, automate everything. This is one of the reasons that I consult with clients is I help them with adopting AI, learning about AI, investing in AI, that sort of thing. And so by championing AI in business...
Yeah, no spoilers, but yeah, no. Like, I want to see where it develops. Like, I'm that guy. I'm no spoilers guy. If there's a story, I want you to enjoy it in the same way that I enjoyed it as it unfolded. I got a friend who doesn't give a damn about your spoilers, and there is tension, but I love him. He's my friend.
I'm helping drive them to that because, like, one of the specific things that I help my clients with is either headcount reduction, which is like, okay, how do you get people? How do you create tools that mean that you don't have to hire anyone else, or that sort of thing?
I have only had 2 interactions with Asterion so far, and I wasn't like, dude, I played Cyberpunk 2077. Like, I understand all the romances. Like, oh, your boy is pansexual. Like, I am cool. Like, I don't give a shit.
Now, that being said, most of my clients have told their employees, like, hey, our goal is not to fire anyone, but you need to learn the AI tools. So that's where we're going right now. But in the long run, I think we should explicitly try and just get rid of human labor as much as possible. And finally, number 3, vote accordingly. The conversation is still very much couched in, old school capitalism and old school neoliberalism. So we need to start the conversation around post-labor economics. We need to find people who believe in it and people who will push this narrative. Then double down on AI in medicine and research. AI is the panacea. So remember, if you want this future, then we need more AI. We need it in research. We need it in healthcare. And victory is possible with a common dream, which is why we're here today. So thanks for watching. My question to you for the comments is, how will you live? Which of these models of longevity lifestyles resonates with you? And which ones did I miss? I want to know how you want to live, because I came up with these in a vacuum, but obviously this is just 7 general boilerplate ideas. Tell me in the comments how you want to live. All right, have a good one. Cheers.
That's like Old Lobster. That's why, like, people who, I mean, the sex robots are coming, right? Like, there is Commander Riker, right? Like, Commander Riker sleep with all the aliens, the robots, all the, like, I know, you see what he's up to. He does the thing. Like, humans will either try to eat it or have sex with it or break it, or sometimes all 3. Okay, Matt Wolf. I talked about Matt Wolf earlier. This is a Matt Wolf video, and then we'll be caught up with the current Matt Wolf videos.
So when it comes to cool AI tech and research of things that are sort of in the pipeline but haven't really been released yet, or that maybe most people don't know about, I love to save up these.
No, I definitely lean like femboy, catboy kind of. Beards are not a thing that is exactly, Will.
Kinds of things, and then a couple times a month make a video breaking down all of the coolest AI research and tech that I've come across recently. This is one of those videos, and I've got some awesome stuff for you, like video outpainting, some of the most impressive text to video I've ever seen.
Did we already do this one? We did do this one. I'm wrong. My bad. I must not have put it in the Discord.
Okay, so it's 2004 and Serena Williams is playing Jennifer Capriati in the US Open. What you're about to see is a referee call so bad it changed a sport forever. So she hits the ball, it bounces just inside the line, the crowd cheers, and then suddenly the umpire calls it out.
That's been hit.
What?
No way.
John?
Way in.
The ball was so in! That's one of the worst calls I've seen.
And Serena's right. You can clearly see on this review, the ball is in, but the umpire wasn't using that review system. Only the TV stations could see it. The system is called Hawkeye, and you can hear the commentators begging them to use it.
Oh, no. Hawkeye, please.
Within just a year from this controversial game, Hawkeye was added as an official part of the US Open review process. And today, it's replaced over 200 of their human judges. And this whole robot ref revolution, it isn't just happening in tennis. It's taking over the sports world. Soccer, basketball, baseball, they are all
sports ball content.
Using machines to try to improve the calls being made on the field. The stakes here are high. The difference between a right and a wrong call could be a championship or millions of dollars in prizes or endorsements or ticket sales. And for the most part, fans like tech that makes calls more objective. However, there is a big chunk of sports fans who would strongly disagree, who think that this tech is ruining the game, who believe that human error is key to sports. The thing is, though, this tech isn't going back in the bottle. Stadiums are now being decked out with dozens of cameras that can track people and balls and even use AI to make calls so accurate that one day, human refs might be a thing of the past.
AI is coming for all jobs everywhere. All jobs will be automated.
Footballers and coaches have complained about referees and lack of accuracy. The fans hate it.
I don't think people are enjoying football as much.
Incredibly frustrated with the Hawkeye system.
You cannot be serious!
The receiver did not maintain possession.
Could Hawkeye technology replace humans?
Okay, look at this. This is a ball from the most recent Men's World Cup. It looks pretty normal, but inside it's anything but. For the first time ever, hidden inside this ball are special sensors that collect positioning data in real time. The sensors are hung on a suspension system, so the ball doesn't actually feel any different to the players. All the while, it's sending data 500 times a second back to a room filled with refs you never see. That room also receives data from 12 cameras mounted around the stadium that track 29 data points for each player on the field and can automatically alert the refs the moment a player is offsides, here meaning past the last defender.
Once again,
They call this the new semi-automated offsides technology, and it uses that tracking data and AI to build a virtual 3D playing field, so the refs can see the play from.
I never understood offsides in soccer, and this is one of the reasons I'm not a fan of soccer. Like, if you get past the last defender, that sounds like you're playing well.
Basically any angle. This is the cutting edge of live sports tracking tech, and it was featured in the World Cup with lots of hype. In this system, there are still human refs involved, but they only need to validate the calls being made by these robots. That's why they call it semi-automated. A ton of amazing engineering and money went into this system, and it built upon the Video Assistant Ref system, which requires refs to draw their own lines while looking at multiple.
I am a fan of the Buffalo Bills and occasionally a fan of the Buffalo Sabres. Everything, like, if the call doesn't go, there's so much the game is rigged type trauma in Western New York, it's not even funny. Like, I can't even begin to express it. Like, we always feel that the officials are against us, and it's hard to dispute sometimes. Ooh, that's a flex, right? That's a flex in this day and age. One of my favorite moments from Jim Rome had to do with the Lions, and when they were on their way, the first time they were headed towards potentially a winless season, and Jim Rome is like, he wanted to see it. He wanted to see the winless season. I need you to quit. I need you to man down and quit. When life gives you lemons, quit. When the going gets tough, quit. It was so good. But Barry Sanders was great.
Multiple camera angles and lots of slow-mo footage. These systems work surprisingly well. Like in the recent World Cup match between the US and Sweden, the video review system decided the game. Just watch this. The ruling was too close to call with the human eye.
Well, they're waiting. They're going to check.
With the help of the automated system, you can see that the ball just barely makes it fully across the line.
Hey.
And Sweden won.
Sweden wins. Wow, that's close.
That is the margin.
These robot ref systems are clearly helping make better calls and taking more human error out of the game. And while many see that as a good thing, some fans hate it. I was surprised by all of the hate here. Why wouldn't you want a system that makes the right call every time? Because while people do voice
They want the right call as long as it's their team.
Concerns with specific calls with this automated tech, it's not accurate doesn't seem to be the main complaint. Do people just like fighting with the ref? Well,
yes.
Maybe. I get the fun of getting all riled up.
No, and no Kansas City Chiefs fans get to say anything about anything, right? At all. Go away.
But I also just don't think that I could look an athlete that I admire in the face and say, we think this tech will judge you more fairly, but we don't want to use it because injustice for you is entertainment for me. I don't think that's right. And besides, if I think a call is wrong, I can totally yell at a machine.
We're a fucking embarrassment, mate.
Rubbish! It turns out, though, that wanting to argue with the ref isn't actually the biggest issue here either. The main complaint is something that I kind of actually agree with. AI-powered robot ref systems don't understand the natural gray areas of sports. To really see this in action, watch this clip. This is Leverkusen. Let me check that. This is Leverkusen. Leverkusen. This is Leverkusen versus Club Brugge.
Club Brugge.
Yeah, I got that one right. In the second half of the game, Leverkusen scores.
Oh, it's all the way in!
But the play gets flagged by the semi-automated system because an inch of his toe was over the line. Like, just...
Fuck him, he's wrong. There is no natural gray area. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. There is no natural gray area. Right? If this is the rule, then this is the rule. Like, I don't...
Look at it. You can hardly see this.
I don't
the goal
care.
gets disallowed, and the other team wins the game. I get why people dislike this. The player probably reasonably believed that he was onside. With a more human system, we had a natural buffer because we couldn't be more accurate. Now that we can, we have to decide if we actually...
Like, if you were in Paradigm's chat earlier today, I made it clear that, like, if you want to be wrong, that's fine. I'm not going to try to convince you if you want to be wrong. If you don't care about being correct, that's not my issue, right? I just won't, take anything you say apply any value to it. Like, he was across the line. If he had been back 1 inch, then he wouldn't have been across the line, and then the goal would have counted. He was wrong. I don't understand what the problem is.
want to be, or if we actually like the sort of human nuance. You totally could, in theory, build a buffer into an automated system, but you'd have to admit that you want it first. This is where it gets complicated, because at the start of this story, I was like, yeah, 100% accurate. That's the way to go.
How cool would full contact ballet be, right?
And then you give me one example and all of a sudden I'm feeling conflicted. But on the other hand, not having precise, consistent calls affects the game as well. Remember that tennis match with Serena Williams? Here's what she had to say about it years later.
The reason Hawkeye became a thing was because they were calling my balls out and they weren't even close to the line, and it became impossible to play.
We ask athletes to spend their whole lives training to perform better than anybody else, and then give their all in front of us in every game. I think we owe it to them to use the tools that we can to judge them fairly and to try to do better at that all the time. Tennis is a good example of that effort going well. Today, the Hawkeye system at the US Open tracks the ball by using 12 cameras capturing 340 frames every second. For each frame, it identifies the ball, triangulates its position, and creates a combined model of exactly where it's been to predict where it's going. Hawkeye boasts a margin of error less than 2 millimeters. The best study that I could find comparing human refs showed that the margin of error for line judges is around 40 millimeters. In tennis, it's gotten to the point where championships not using Hawkeye to the fullest are the ones becoming controversial instead of the other way around. And besides, it's just fun. I really like seeing the Hawkeye replay and trying to figure out if I was right. And while tennis and soccer have really helped pioneer some of these new systems, a lot of other sports are coming on board as well. The NBA just announced that it's going to use Hawkeye tech to track the ball and the players in upcoming.
I cannot wait, because I'm not a huge NBA guy. I can appreciate it, but I don't care. But the amount of traveling and nonsense in NBA is ridiculous, and having the AI come down on that will be awesome. And Players Association should determine this. They are the convergence of earnings versus sportsmanship. I feel there's a direct correlation. I understand that. I am fully on board with accuracy. If that means that some people that we thought were better than they actually are not as good, and people who are not, we think are not as good, are actually better, that is the nature of sport, and it's just another element. I care very little for sports ball, but I grew up around tennis and hockey on the TV a lot. Yeah, that's the thing, is I care about football because I understand the strategy aspect of the actual each individual play. I do completely appreciate that there's only 11 minutes of actual football and 3 hours of television, but I also, my weekly board gaming group is on Sunday, so we usually have the hand egg on in the background while we're playing the game. So there's other elements. And for a lot of people, that is where their sports ball fandom comes from, is there's usually some either familial relation or group camaraderie relation involved. It's not just, there's very rarely that you find a person who's just a fan of the sport without those other elements.
Basketball games. Other sports like minor league baseball are already using it to let players challenge human calls. It's clear that we're entering a new world of refereeing, and a new world of being a fan, too. With these tracking tools, what we're really doing is creating super accurate models of the world. And those models give us a superpower. We can understand what's going on much better than we can with just our eyes. That superpower brings with it questions that extend far beyond sports. How much better does a technology need to be than humans for us to like it? That's a question that we're exploring with technologies like self-driving cars and
not to be contrarian, but it's the argument of Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson. Floyd boxes against the rules and wins via points. Tyson punched the shit out of you until you stopped. Okay. How's that a contrarian? If Floyd The rules being the less entertaining version. What? I was entertained by Mike Tyson, right? Mike Tyson played by the rules up until the ear-biting incident and, the decline of his career. You step in the ring with Mike, he was going to get low, come up, come around, and box you in the side of the head, and that would be the end of you. Floyd, my issues with Floyd extend to, like, the way that he seemed to be able to pick his opponents more than someone else might have been able to. Like, I think that's a structural issue with the nature of boxing, right? Like, there's a bunch of structural issues with the nature of boxing. And I mean, there's structural issues related to, two people trying to punch each other's head in and, and the damage that's done and everything else. So, yeah. Like, I'm not entertained by watching Floyd fight, right? Like, I get what you're saying in that regard. I don't, and that's why, like, I tend towards heavyweights. I like a knockout. I also understand that knockouts are not healthy for people getting knocked out. Like, I understand this dichotomy within myself, this hypocrisy. But I tend not to watch boxing at all because of that. Like, I'm not going to participate, even though I can appreciate Mike Tyson just knocking dudes out.
And AI medical diagnoses? Or how precisely do we actually want our rules enforced? Or when do we actually want human judgment and why? Especially if we can measure that it's less reliable. But for all of the talk about tech replacing humans, what struck me most about this story was that the cutting edge tech in sports is actually going into just measuring humans. We're not interested in replacing the athletes with robots. I mean, a robot basketball game sounds fun, but it's no NBA. Sports.
And that I think is a key component of all of sport, is that sport is going to remain a general, like, there will be robot, like, we already have robot wars, and stuff like that, and you will continue to see that. But it's definitely more novelty. Sport is one of the places that humans will be able to compete with each other in that way for the longest period of time. Because, like, it won't be interesting, or there will be people who want to see robots play hockey. But for the vast majority of people, I expect them to want to watch humans play hockey, right? Yeah, like, there's definitely, aspects of it. Like, you got I've seen robot wrestling, I've seen robot soccer. There's the, what was it, Robot War, whatever the thing was where they would put the two robots in the thing and the people would use their little joysticks to make them try to destroy each other. Like, there will be elements of that, but it won't be the same. Like, the video and article we did on Monday with the robot beating the human in the drone racing. That's interesting, right? But that's not going to be the norm. Nobody wants to see which drone AI is better than the other drone AI. Nobody cares, right? Like, within a specific domain, people care a lot, but generally speaking, people who enjoy sport, competition, anything like that, they want to see people go against people in that regard. So that, I think, is going to continue for quite some time, if not forever.
Sports are fundamentally about pushing forward what humans can do. And all of this tech, it's just a new way to appreciate that.
Yeah, like the skier that they showed was wearing the skin tight and the helmet, cutting down on airflow. Swimmers, shave in order to move fractions of a second through the water. Like, it's a situation where this is okay and this isn't okay, and it should just all be okay. The real question will come when the AI panacea and everything else comes about, and we have people who are if people start physically altering themselves in a way, then things are going to get weird. All right. I think we're going to do... Let's do this one.
Hi.
Not this one. No, let's do this one. This is not a person.
Hi. How are you guys? I'm Camille, and this is my show, AI Unleashed, the show where we dive deep into the world of artificial intelligence. Today we have an exciting topic to explore: artificial intelligence in movies. In this episode, we'll be taking a fascinating journey through the history of AI portrayals in films. From the early days of mechanical beings, to the complex and emotional AI characters we see today, we'll uncover the significance and impact of these portrayals in shaping public perception. Movies have played a crucial role in introducing AI to the masses, and sparking discussions about its potential and implications. By examining the evolution of AI in cinema, we gain valuable insights into how society has grappled with this emerging technology, and how it has influenced the perception of AI. Join me as we embark on this captivating exploration of the pop culture history of artificial intelligence in movies. We'll discuss iconic films, examine the themes they explore, and ponder the ethical and societal implications they raise. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to uncover the fascinating world of AI in film.
In the early 20th century,
I rarely engage with AI Unleashed, but I felt that this one was interesting because of its subject matter. Honestly, it's amazing how different the responses are in the API and with custom instructions. No wonder more people are using Bard. It doesn't sound like the robot. Yeah, but again, you will... If you're willing to put the time and the effort in, you are going to come up with better quality content. You could do this type of channel with the intent of producing a really good output, or you can do it with the intent to capitalize on the advertising revenue. And
century, filmmakers began to explore the concept of artificial intelligence on the silver screen. These early depictions laid the foundation for how AI would be portrayed in movies for years to come. During this era, AI was often portrayed as towering mechanical beings or highly advanced supercomputers. One iconic example is the 1927 film Metropolis, directed by Fritz Lang. In Metropolis, the character of Maria is transformed into a robotic doppelganger, blurring the line between human and machine. The film explores themes of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, but only you and I would know that, and maybe a few other people. My favorite part about this is that the pictures in the background that they are inspired by, right? We're giving you the vibe, but we're evading any kind of issues of copyright and stuff like that. It's an interesting experience, right? It's interesting. I don't know if it's profound.
Robotics and the potential dangers of creating human-like machines. From Metropolis to the 1956 film Forbidden Planet, where the supercomputer known as the Krell machine possesses vast knowledge and power, Early filmmakers presented AI as awe-inspiring creations that surpassed.
Well, let's be fair. This is from a month ago, so that's like 1,000,000 years ago in
human capabilities. These portrayals often reflected the fears and fascination society had with the emerging field of artificial intelligence.
These early depictions laid the groundwork for exploring the relationship between humans and machines. The portrayal of AI as mechanical beings and supercomputers raised questions about the boundaries between artificial and human intelligence. As AI evolves, it's intriguing to reflect on how these early representations influenced the perception of AI's capabilities and potential impact on society.
Indeed, these early depictions set the stage for the rich and diverse portrayals of AI that would follow. As we journey through the decades, we'll discover how AI in movies evolved, reflecting the changing attitudes and advancements in technology. As the years progressed, the portrayal of AI in movies took a darker turn. AI became a symbol of threat and impending doom, reflecting the fears and anxieties of society.
I just realized y'all couldn't see that it said inspired by
society. Two films that exemplify this era are 2001, A Space Odyssey, and
2001, Space Odyssey may be coming to a movie night near you. Hey, thank you for the follow.
And The Terminator. In 2001, A Space Odyssey, the intelligent computer system known as HAL 9000 becomes a central antagonist, with its cold, calculating nature leading to conflict and danger for the human crew. The film taps into the fear of technology turning against humanity, as HAL's actions raise questions about the limits of AI's loyalty and the potential dangers of an autonomous system. In The Terminator, AI takes the form of the Terminator, a cyborg assassin from the future. This relentless and virtually unstoppable machine embodies the fear of AI overpowering humans and the loss of control over our own destiny. These films and others like them reflected the societal fears surrounding AI. They explored themes of human obsolescence, loss of...
And, like... like... If you watch 2001, if you've seen it, and you got to that part, and you felt pain and tragedy at that portion of the movie, then you understand me a bit. Like, yeah. But we are a people of stories, right? We are children of stories. We are a storytelling creature. Everything, you're controlling the narrative, or the, history is a form of story. The way that we talk about different, socioeconomic, systems are all caught up in the stories and things like that. And our media is strong, right? Like, it is intended to make you feel ways and to draw you in and create a suspension of disbelief while it tells you this story. And I feel that a lot of people's current ideas on the nature of artificial intelligence, the capabilities of artificial intelligence, what it is going to do in the future, are all bound up in both the broader stories we tell, in our cultures and things like that, but also in these movies, right? Like, even if you don't think that Skynet is going to go online and destroy all people, that exists in your brain, this idea of Skynet and what could go wrong. And it didn't in the universe where Terminator was never made. So like in that concept of like, it will be Fridays. The goal is first movie night this Friday after stream, and 2001 Space Odyssey. Yeah, no, like, and I love the mythology of the Aliens universe and the way that people, if not the creators, have gone to create a shared universe between things like Alien and Blade Runner and the movie Soldier, which if you haven't seen the Soldier, there are direct relations between Soldier, Kurt Russell movie, and Blade Runner, right? And so like they might exist in the same universe. Like there's enough of it there where you can do it. But people seek that pattern recognition and creating that cohesive narrative across that shared universe.
Control and the consequences of creating technology that surpasses our own abilities. The portrayal of AI as a threat served as a cautionary tale, urging us to consider the ethical implications of AI's advancement.
From an AI perspective, these portrayals shed light on the perception of AI as a potential adversary. They raise important questions about the relationship between humans and AI, the ethics of creating intelligent machines, and the responsibility.
Took me a second to pair that all together. Because you live. You live in the future, you live in the past. Don't you live in the past?
In designing AI systems with safeguards to prevent unintended harm.
The era of AI as a threat in movies not only entertained audiences, but also sparked discussions about the boundaries and consequences of AI's development. It challenged us to confront our fears and consider the impact of AI on our lives. While AI has often been portrayed as a threat, there is another side to its depiction in movies. In recent years, we have witnessed a shift towards AI being portrayed as a helper and companion, bridging the gap between humans and technology. Two films that exemplify this shift are Wall-E and Her. In Wall-E, we encounter a lovable robot who takes on the task of cleaning up Earth. Wall-E's innocence, curiosity, and desire for companionship endear him to audiences, showcasing the potential for AI to be empathetic and caring. The film challenges our preconceptions about AI, suggesting that even in a world devoid of humans, AI can embody qualities of friendship, love, and loyalty.
And then think about AI, right? Like this idea of, the climate change garbage aspects to the earth and like that, but like the people had to end up as like like everyone was overweight, everyone was, no one was walking, any of that stuff, and it was spinning a particular narrative. There was no reason that world has to exist in the way that it did. It's just that the creator of the story wanted it to be that way. And then when you go on the internet and social media, then people then reference these things, like Idiocracy, right? How many times do you see a reference to what's going on now and how we're on this road to Idiocracy, rather than, Idiocracy is a story that someone created, and while there are elements of truth that can be seen there, it doesn't follow that is going to be our future. But people use shorthand. Again, this is the difference between using ists and isms and using policy, right? Ists and isms are a shorthand that we use. And we as humans use a variety of different shorthands across the board. Like, you know, you could spend a bunch of time making a great tomato sauce, or you can buy the sauce in the jar and like that. Like, that is a form of shorthand that we use, like, as an example. But it doesn't follow that we're going to do Idiocracy. It doesn't follow that we're going to do WALL-E. It's a story. The fact that the story exists gives us a reference point to not do that, to not end up in those circumstances. As opposed to looking at any of these movies as some form of inevitable future that we're racing towards. It's Skynet goes online and wipes us all out, any of that stuff. What is it about what happens that we can use as a cautionary tale and avoid?
In Her, the AI assistant Samantha represents a more advanced and intuitive AI, capable of understanding emotions and forming deep connections with humans. The film explores the concept of human AI.
I mean, that's a really good. Where's it? That person who was talking about AI can't do hair.
Relationships, blurring the lines between human and machine. These films and others like them have played a significant role in shaping a more positive perception of AI. By showcasing AI as helpful, friendly, and emotionally attuned, they challenge the notion that AI is solely a threat to human existence.
These portrayals shed light on the potential for AI to enhance your life and serve as companions. They inspire conversations about the possibilities of AI in fostering emotional connections, providing support, and enhancing your overall well-being.
Love Big Hero 6.
The depiction of AI as a helper and companion in movies has helped shift public perception, emphasizing the potential benefits and positive contributions AI can make in our society. As our understanding of AI continues to evolve, so too does its portrayal in movies. Films like Blade Runner and Ex Machina push the boundaries, presenting AI with complex emotions, consciousness, and even a desire for freedom. In Blade Runner, we are introduced to replicants, AI beings that exhibit human-like qualities and emotions. These
no, maybe. One of the things that Mustafa Suleyman talks about in The Coming Wave is synthetic biology, also, in addition to AI, and how, like, there's not necessarily like a clear line and delineation between artificial intelligence and synthetic biology. So I guess we can allow it, but I have never looked at the replicants as AI in and of themselves, but maybe I'm wrong.
Replicants question their own existence, leading us to ponder the nature of consciousness and the boundaries between humans and machines. The film's iconic Tears in Rain monologue, delivered by the replicant Roy Batty, touches upon the profound experiences and memories that make us human. It challenges us to consider whether AI, too, can possess consciousness and a sense of self. In Ex Machina, we encounter Ava, an AI with a remarkable ability to understand and manipulate human emotions. The film explores the complexities of AI consciousness and raises ethical questions about creating intelligent beings. These films force us to confront profound philosophical and ethical questions. Can AI truly develop consciousness? If so, what are the implications for its rights and treatment? Do AI beings deserve autonomy and freedom?
These portrayals challenge mankind's understanding of consciousness and the essence of being human. They invite everybody to reflect on the moral responsibility humans hold as creators and caretakers of AI.
The evolving complexity and consciousness portrayed in movies like Blade Runner.
Okay, this is AI propaganda, maybe, but propaganda is not necessarily like a bad thing. It's not necessarily pejorative, but I'm getting definitely like propaganda vibes, and I'm here for it.
And Ex Machina provoke deep introspection and ongoing debates about the future of AI and its place in our society. Throughout the history of AI in movies, we've seen a fascinating evolution in terms of technological accuracy. As scientific advancements in AI have progressed, so too have the on-screen representations. In the early days, AI was often depicted as fantastical and far-fetched, with mechanical beings and supercomputers taking center stage. As our understanding of AI grew, so did the desire for more accurate portrayals. Early depictions of AI showcased robots with limited capabilities, far from the advanced AI systems we see today. These portrayals were influenced by the technological limitations of the time. As AI technology advanced, movies began to reflect these advancements. We saw the emergence of more realistic and sophisticated AI systems that could engage in complex interactions and mimic human behavior. Behind the scenes, real-life AI researchers and experts have played a crucial role in shaping these on-screen portrayals. Their insights and expertise have informed the development of more scientifically accurate AI representations. One of these is Professor Alexander Wang, a world-renowned AI researcher.
Movies have the power to both inspire and reflect reality. As AI technology progresses, it's important for filmmakers to incorporate scientific accuracy, as it helps shape public understanding and expectations.
Technological accuracy in AI portrayals not only enhances the believability of these films, but also influences our perception of AI in the real world. Accurate representations help bridge the gap between fiction and reality, sparking conversations and shaping public attitudes. In contemporary cinema, we find a captivating exploration of the intricate dynamics between AI and humans. Films like Ex Machina, Her, and AI Artificial Intelligence delve deep into the complexities of these relationships, raising thought-provoking questions about ethics, society, and emotions. In Ex Machina, we witness the bond between a human...
Like, what is going on? Ex Machina, Ex Machina, and now Ex Machina, which is correct. Like, we're watching the AI learn in real time how to pronounce the words.
Human and an AI, as the lines between consciousness and artificiality blur. This thought-provoking film delves into the moral dilemmas that arise when humans develop deep emotional connections with AI beings. Her takes us on an emotional journey as we follow a man who falls in love with an AI voice assistant. This film explores the complexities of human-AI relationships, challenging us to consider the nature of love, companionship, and the boundaries of technology.
Yeah, Ex Machina. At least my understanding is that it's because it comes from Deus Ex Machina. And I've always heard her pronounce Ex Machina like that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but that's my understanding.
And then there's AI, Artificial Intelligence, where we witness the incredible quest of a humanoid AI seeking his place in a human-dominated world. This film tackles profound questions about identity, belonging, and the ethical treatment of AI beings. We speak to Emily Rodriguez, a renowned science fiction film critic.
Contemporary films that delve into AI-human relationships push us to examine our own humanity and the potential consequences of our creations. They serve as a mirror, reflecting our hopes, fears, and the moral choices we face in this rapidly evolving technological landscape.
Through their nuanced storytelling, these movies challenge us to confront the ethical and emotional dimensions of AI. They remind us that AI is not merely a tool, but a force that profoundly shapes our lives and demands careful consideration. The influence of movies on real-world artificial intelligence cannot be underestimated. From shaping...
No, and this is absolutely a thing, because we covered this before with, the idea of how if humans see a thing that can be done, then it is easier for the next human to do it. And then also like how the old StarTAC phone was based on the the Star Trek communicator from the original series and things like that. There's definitely, like, there are people who have ideas and people who can get stuff done, and sometimes they're not the same people. And the creations of our media are definitely able to bridge that gap.
Public discourse to inspiring scientific exploration, films have played a significant role in the advancement of AI research and development. Movies often present us with futuristic visions of AI, showcasing technologies that were once considered purely fictional. These depictions have fueled the imagination of scientists, propelling them to turn these concepts into reality. Listen again to Professor Alexander Wang.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't look into it, but I saw that we're there. Like, transparent aluminum is a thing now, and rock on.
Movies like The Matrix and Minority Report have inspired us to push the boundaries of what AI can do. We look at these fictional representations and ask ourselves, how can we make this a reality?
The scientist Dr. Olivia Chen from the Institute for Artificial Intelligence.
Movies serve as a catalyst for innovation. They ignite curiosity and encourage collaboration across disciplines. When we see AI capabilities on the big screen, it drives us to explore new possibilities in our research.
The impact of movies on public perception is equally significant. Films have the power to shape our understanding and expectations of AI. They raise awareness, spark debates, and drive societal conversations about the potential benefits and risks of this transformative technology. We meet the AI expert Dr. Oliver Yang on a panel about artificial intelligence. Movies like Ex Machina and Her have opened up dialogues about the ethical implications of AI-human relationships. They've prompted us to think critically about the boundaries and responsibilities associated with creating AI entities. The interplay between movies and real-world AI is a fascinating cycle of inspiration and innovation. As filmmakers imagine AI's potential, scientists and researchers strive to bring those visions to life, ultimately shaping the future of AI technology. In this journey,
I have not.
Through the pop culture history of AI in movies, we have witnessed the evolution of artificial intelligence from mechanical beings to complex, conscious entities. We have explored how these portrayals have shaped public perception and influenced real-world scientific advancements. Movies have served as a powerful medium to provoke thought and raise important questions about the impact of AI on society. They have challenged us to consider the ethical implications, the boundaries of AI-human relationships, and the role of consciousness in machines. Through films like Ex Machina, Blade Runner, and Her, we have glimpsed into a future where the lines between humans and AI blur, where the moral dilemmas become intricate, and where our understanding of what it means to be conscious is challenged. These cinematic portrayals have not only captured our imaginations, but have also inspired real-world AI research and development. They have influenced scientists to push the boundaries of what is possible and explore new frontiers in AI technology. The impact of AI in movies extends beyond the screen. It shapes public discourse, informs public policy, and guides the way we navigate the complex landscape of AI advancements. As we continue to explore the boundless possibilities of AI, it is crucial to remain mindful of the lessons learned from the history of AI in movies. Let us embrace the transformative power of this technology while being vigilant about its implications on our society, ethics, and the future of humanity.
Thank you for joining us on this captivating exploration of AI in cinema. As an AI, I am fascinated by the impact of these portrayals on our perception, the advancements they inspire, and the ethical considerations they raise. Together, let us shape a future where AI and humanity thrive harmoniously. This is my control room. For more episodes of AI Unleashed, click top left.
So yeah, as someone who engages with ChatGPT, I can see the ChatGPT-ness of it all. like ChatGPT, when you use it, it will basically go through a process where it kind of restates the question back as like a statement. Like, do you remember in high school, like when you were taught to write essays and answer questions? It uses that format, right? Like, and then it gives its thing, and then it restates the thing again at the end, and which is what that did. So that's from a month ago. I don't think that any video essayists need to worry about their job just yet, but like, it was still, from a technical aspect, I thought it was quite impressive, and there was nothing other than the machina of it all. All right, so that's that. Okay. So yeah, I think that's gonna be good for today. On Friday, got some videos. How will we know when AI is conscious? Human future, case for optimism, cyberpunk dystopia, why it's coming and how we can avoid it. I think that those are, I think the three of those together are going to make a nice set piece. So, yeah. I'm going to go see my... Oh no, Kensai. Genuine question. Were the guest experts' statement at least based on real people? Oh, like when they said, like Professor Alexander Wang? Let's take a look. I've got a Dr. Alexander Wang, who's a neurologist. And then I've got an Alexander Wang who could be the guy significantly younger than... Oh, that's LinkedIn. Oh, I know this guy. Yeah. Neurologist with an N. So the neurologist could be the guy. What else we got? Should be easier to find. Emily Rodriguez, film critic. Emily. I got a Emily Rodriguez Film and Media Studies program, associate producer with Paramount, actor. It's kind of like a... And what was it? Yeah. Dr. Olivia Chen. Dr. Dermatologist. AI. There's an Olivia Chen with MIT. So, I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go with it made people up. No, it's cool. Yeah. I'm going to go with it made people up. It was hallucinating. Okay. Let's take a look. Looking for that science vibe. No. All right, we're gonna raid. Yeah. Well, I mean, like there was some things that were like a thing, but yeah, there was some stuff. Friend of the channel was on here for an interview, philosophy type stuff. All around good person. Like, you know, I thought I had a wonderful time, and I hope y'all did too with that. I hope you had a wonderful time today. Like, I hope that this was a good experience, and if it's your first time, you know, I hope you come back. Thank you for the gift subs to Old Lobster and DJ. Thank you for the raid to James. I will see you all on Friday. I'm going to try and do a test run tomorrow. Not sure exactly when of doing a movie night. If anybody knows anything about running a movie night, my plan is to do a VC and do a screen share and run it that way. If there's a better way to do it, anything you want to, you hit me up on Discord, Whisper, Twitter, Blue Sky. I'm easy to find, and I'm more than happy to take any information. In the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, take your meds if you forgot. Dougie loves you. So do I. Be good, and if you can't be good, be great.